Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We're back, we're here, we're live, we're excited to talk with you on the world of boxing and beyond as a whole. Host of news, topics, conversations, and new things of debate that we had to discuss has now come on the scene with the NBA and beyond. In the boxing world, you got Ennis versus Zayas. We've been talking about this for the past 3 months now. We are only 2 days away from one of the most impactful fights of the year at the Murderer's Row, weight of 154 pounds, to get a claim to fame as to who reigns as one of the 3 or 4 big names in the world of 154, as Ennis and Zayas take their biggest test against each other in a fight for who claims the throne. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to have you all be here to talk about everything that we have in store. Also, we're going to be sure to discuss some stuff in the NBA later on in the show. If you didn't get the word, we're in the off season. NBA trades, drafts, and everything else under the sun is going down. Not just as AJ Diabate get drafted to the Wizards, and we can say, ooh, the Wizards might look good. LaMelo Ball just got traded from the Hornets, going to the Timberwolves in a shocking all move. So we all in fits and in absolute disarray for all manner of things, for everything going on right now. We can't wait to see you all talking about everything that we have on this show. We appreciate you tuning in, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and come and join the Empire. That's right. Before we even get started, if you haven't already, be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, rate us 5 stars there. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. You keep up to date with everything that we do on this channel and do the 2 most important things, which is number 1, if you can support the channel and you want to help us keep us going, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chat, super gift stickers, and all the like you can give down in the chat down below. If you choose to support this channel, any amount will do, helps us to pay the bills and edify this channel to make it better and more entertaining for you listeners and viewers all around the globe. And the most important thing is to go through and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together and growing bigger, stronger, and even more in the sense of a conglomerate, taking over the world of sports as we know it. And we can't wait. We're glad that you're here along for the ride. But we already got people in the chat coming in. Let's read you all's responses. Like Bravey, what's going on? How you doing, Bravey? Good to see you. We thank you all coming in on the show. Music never gets old. Well, I'm happy for it because I ain't got no replacement music right now. LaMelo Ball got traded. You talk on right, he got traded. Now, granted, we want to make sure we can talk about Zayas' chances to beat Ennis first before anything else. We got some stuff with Errol Spence as well, some new training footage. We got some stuff in boxing we got to cover before we get to the NBA. But I'm telling you, this is a major trade, if you didn't know going down, that we will be discussing today. Boxing Nerd, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the live stream today. Xander turned down his media obligation yesterday. Will he make weight? Oh my goodness, it has a lot of people concerned. Now, here's what we have to say as we're talking about Zayas versus Boots, as we're going to start off this show. In fact, we got to start off this show right. So since we're talking about boxing, since we're going to be talking about sports in the greater landscape of the ethos of what we love to see, it's time for us to step into the ring, and it's time for us to talk boxing, and it's time for us to get to work, shall we? Come on, let's get it started. Let's get it popping. It's time to step into the ring and make this show our own and start this off with a bang. And with the first topic, we will be discussing Zayas versus Boots as we are prepared for the 2 days, the 2-day arrival of somebody reigning supreme as one of the kings of the division. That is absolutely going down. We need to get ready because this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. And there's a lot of questions we need to start asking going into this. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, we have a lot of questions we got to ask about this. Making weight, will he make weight in this fight due to him again turning down media obligations? I will say this, I don't think we should read in too much on that, strictly because it could be some fighters get to a mode where they don't want no interactions, no distractions, and they completely focus on the fight. In which Zayas being somebody who wants to act and walk and move like a champion, this may be part of that a regime of game plan. I don't need nothing in the weeks coming in, specifically this week and the last week, I don't need nothing going down to get me unfocused on frivolous questions, stuff that I don't need to think about what if you lose and all that stuff. The reporters are going to add strictly dealing with the fight itself. Maybe that's what. Or maybe, hey, he may have missed weight. Maybe he's struggling to make weight a little bit. Because we've said before, this bud has been a huge guy at 154. We've understood consistently. This man has looked like he's over 200 pounds of legitimate solid muscle when he's outside of the ring. Even when this fight was first getting announced. Remember, we were even talking about Zayas saying publicly he was about 190, 200 on trying to cut down the weight. I even think he talked about, I think it was Boots that also referred to Zayas having a fat camp, needing to go, and you got to get ready just to get in range to be able to actually be there on fight night. So it may be there is some danger of Zayas not making weight comfortably at 154. With them always being a legitimately big dude. But let me keep on reading you all's chats. Love King, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. We appreciate you on the live stream. We thank you for showing up. Excuse me, we thank you for showing up and being a part of our stream. I'm excited to see Boots KO this guy. And again, a lot of people are. There's a lot of people that are picking Boots to knock out Zayas. Be clear, myself included. I'll put myself in that book. I'll put myself in it. That's the truth. We got some problems here. But bigger than a knockout, getting to the fight right now is one of the biggest questions we need to ask about Zayas. Boots Zayas is a 60-40 fight from Beats Skull. How you doing, Beats? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. What are the betting odds for Boots and Zayas? Let me take a quick look, because I know some people, this actually is a really good thing to see how the public views this fight going down. Virgil versus Zayas odds right now. So again, I'm not sponsored. I'm not advocating for gambling. This is simply to show you what the public may be seeing for what's going down for Boots and Zayas and how they may be swaying their emotions on what is and isn't the best move to make. And it looks like Zayas Boots is a plus 200. Is it plus 200? No, I'm sorry. He's a minus 550. What that means? I think you have to bet $550 to get $100 back on your bet if you do bet. I'm not advocating betting. I'm not sponsored by FanDuel. This has nothing to do with me getting paid. Be clear. Be clear. I'm just showing you the numbers. That's all, because some people are asking. So Boots is minus 550. Zayas is plus 330. So that would mean, or 350, excuse me. You bet $100 on Zayas, you would get $350 back. I believe. Again, I don't bet, so I'm going off what I think is the correct way to look at how this fight or how these odds numbers mean. But regardless of which, that's the MO of the thing. Boots is a very it's a pretty decent favorite, and understandably so, even with the unproven track record of him at 154. Shoot, unproven track record of him in the whole of the boxing world. As many people have said countless times before, Boots has not fought anybody substantial. That's been a big issue. That's been a huge issue. That's been a huge issue. We've addressed this before, but it's the truth. We are looking at Boots as not being experienced for all the 35 fights that he's had, even with the fight with Ennis being, in my opinion, a very good win. He's faced off against tough guys. He's faced off against decent names. But in this caliber of elite ability, this is a new framework even for the likes of Boots Ennis. Regardless of how you feel, if his skill level is indeed to the moon and is one of the top 10 or 5 best talented fighters in the globe, that's not the relevant matter. Who he's faced is the relevant thing. That's where everybody's saying maybe Zayas can go through and give him some potential trouble, because this is a new level that he's never seen. At the same perspective, the same thing is with Zayas. Zayas has not faced somebody of this regime before, and we have been. I'll even say this with respect that I've talked about Zayas. We've been looking at Zayas as a fighter who may be, or not even maybe, is concretely the best fighter Boots faced. However, even of his own names that he's faced in his resume, though he has taken the test of trying to become a champion earlier on and becoming unified, which absolutely is incredible. That does not change it. This is still amongst the barrel of names that Zayas has faced. Many of the criticism has been, well, they weren't that good, or they weren't in the weakest champion that he could face. It's who he in fact fought. That's been some of the traction that we've seen online, especially on social media and on Twitter. Going back and saying, well, if y'all say Boots ain't fought nobody, well, Zayas hasn't either, if we're going to compare apples to apples, resume to resume, talent for talent. Like we said before, the issue is Zayas took this level of jump of a person who had or was in position to get a title sooner than Boots. Even though we can say, at least I can say, Boots is a better fighter. Zayas jumped into the deep end quicker. That's what makes this different. He's been on the stage of earlier in his development. I know what it means to fight, not get a title from somebody relinquishing. I know what it's like to fight for a championship in a quicker, respective road to success than what we've seen with Boots. Now, still, this is going to be, he could fold immensely. He could fold immediately in this fight. It could be, like I said, within 5 rounds, we see Zayas get knocked out. That's completely on the table. But just know, this is going to, somebody's going to be real, somebody's going to be fake. Somebody's going to be seen as, you're worth the weight in gold. Somebody's going to be saying, we got some questions we need you to answer, sir. Come out to the back. We got an interrogation room for you. Coffee and donuts in the room. But we're going to need you to sit down because we got some questioning that we need to give you. Because some stuff ain't lining up for what you were supposed to be as a fighter on both ends of the spectrum. That's what potentially is at risk. But let me keep on reading you all's chats. I have to push back because Zayas has been talking crazy about Boots, saying he's flat-footed and weak to body shots. Now, see, that is ridiculous. Now, I'll say that. That's ridiculous. I don't believe that for a second that Boots I don't believe for a second that Boots is somebody who is flat-footed. Anybody who says that, even Zayas saying that, well, that's just wrong. And I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. But let me keep on reading you all the chats. Like Nitro, 1942 Nitro. What's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the live stream today, talking about the world of boxing and beyond on our show, The Welch Report. We do this 3 days out the week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoon, all here getting debates, conversation, questions, and all manner of great entertainment regarding the world of boxing and beyond. But let me see, y'all think Xander is worse than Josh Kelly? Now, see, that's a good question. I think that he is... I think his ceiling is better than Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly is a more, again, elusive. You could argue, again, he got tested by Bakram. He beat Bakram when Bakram was a boogeyman. Was a very impressive thing and showed he had a better ability to take a punch when he got knocked down, but still was able to stay up and actually win that fight that he was up on. He is a better technician when it comes to movement, pot shotting, scoring, and being able to be defensive. I think Kelly's better at that. But it's also because Kelly is older. Zayas has shown to me, he's not at the point where he is, oh my gosh, he's taking over the globe and he's this, that, and the third. We're excited for Zayas because he's taking on this test early. It's like he became unified early. He was before Abdullah Mason, the youngest champion in boxing outright, legitimately, and won these belts legitimately. This brother was moving in a way that we were saying, oh my gosh, hey, he really is pushing the envelope at a division where even if you say somebody is at the bottom of the totem pole from the perspective of talent, we've said this before, 154, there's really nowhere to run. Even a quote-unquote easy fight up here is a hard fight because of the density of talent between one and shoot. We want to be honest, 1 in about 11. 1 in 12. If you got to get to like 13 before you really get into, okay, stuff gets easy. And even amongst that 13, right, guess who you're now in the vicinity of? Keith Thurman, Errol Spence Jr., and Jamal Charlo, and Tim Tszyu. Respectable names, even if they're over the hill. that if they do have a good night, guess what? It ain't going to be easy. So, but I'm not saying Zayas is right now, oh, he's better than Fundora. We're not doing that. We are saying, though, he is at a skill level that Boots should have faced off against. And he has the ceiling. This fight could be the thing that this fight could bring out a closer elevation to that ceiling. That this fight could be a problem for the whole of this division and beyond as he continues to get older. If he loses to Boots, we have to make sure that we don't say we need to throw Zayas away. Be sure we say that. Let me make sure we say that for anything. I am all for saying that Zayas still is growing. I am not for saying that him losing to a great fighter in Boots, if it does happen, turns him into a false level of quality. That, hey, forget just saying that Boots, oh, he fought another easy guy. Forget that excuse. That's not going to be an excuse, because as I said before, Zayas is a good fighter. There's a tendency of boxing fans, after they go and see somebody lose that has been talked about as, hey, this brother has some real potential going forward, oftentimes, okay, we can now just throw you away. We can forget about you. There's no longer a need to go and look at your career fervently or focus on it because, okay, you're not a picture of necessity for the boxing fans, at least in America. I can't say for everybody else, at least in America. You lose, you're out, unless you're just undeniably in the public eye. You lose, you're gone. We bye-bye. See you later. Get another title and go on a dramatic win streak. We'll care about you again. We've seen it. We've seen tales all the time go like that in boxing, at least for the public fan base here in America. Can't speak for everybody else. I don't speak of what I've been around. We don't need to do that with Zayas. Because Zayas can grow and be able to turn into a truly a great fighter. Because he has everything. He's got the length. You can clearly see this brother can go and translate to multiple different weight classes of ability and physicality. He has a determination and a maturity that for a lot of young fighters, they don't have yet. He also has a mindset to think like a champion. Not only is he going after legacy early, he is also in the face of the biggest opportune fighter in front of him. That everybody's saying you're going to get knocked out and he's going to whoop you and make you irrelevant. He's talking like a champion should talk when somebody else is trying to come into his yard. He's not capitulating. He's not trying to go and be friendly in the perspective of, you're coming to take what I got and you keep on underestimating me. I'm going to show you I'm all that in a bag of chips. And you better watch what you say. That type of thinking of, I know I deserve to be here. And I'm going to walk like I deserve to be here. Because I deserve to be here. Gives him a sense of confidence that, like with every champion, or like what the saying goes with every champion, when you get the belt, you get about 10 to 30% better. Because now, not only have you reached your zenith, but now you're walking with a different chip on you. It's not even a chip. It's a crown. It's a cape. It's a cloak. You have the ensemble that imbued you with a new sense of urgency and self-belief. I did it. I got to my goal. And now I got a target on my back. So to live up to the standard that I know I can fight at, and to make sure I don't let this position go, I need to be at the best I can be at all times, straight up. Because this can get taken away in a heartbeat. That's how Zayas is operating. That, for the future, is going to turn him, whether or not Boots beats him or not, into something special. That could be the very thing that turns this fight into a whole new situation for the likes of Zayas. Because let's be clear, this whole thing is about, can Zayas beat Boots Ennis? That's you see the thumbnail. You see the title. Can Zayas cause the upset? Can Zayas shock the world? And all of a sudden everybody said, oh my gosh, we saw this man do the impossible. He did the incredible. He went through and against the face of one of the greatest or one of the best talents that we have. Let me not say greatest. I guess one of the best talents that we have right now in Boots Ennis from a straight up skills perspective. When everybody doubted him, this brother came in and showed people he more than belongs. He is one of the realest people out here in the boxing scene. If he accomplishes that goal and he causes that level of essentially turnover in all the public eye, it would be so incredible. But it's going to take you thinking in a certain way. It's going to take you having the confidence to do things that for a lot of people, they say you shouldn't do. Like we said earlier when we were trying to break down this fight, and be clear, this is also turning into a whole prediction thing. Who's going to win? How is it going to go? How is this fight going to fare? And what could we see? It's going to turn into him honestly taking chances that he doesn't want to take. There's going to be an instance you need to be sure you can hurt Boots Ennis. That's going to need to be one of the biggest things about this fight that can change this whole thing into his favor. If he can't hurt him, it's a whole new story. But if he can, that changes a whole plethora of ways that Boots is going to have to operate. And what those ways are, I'm going to get to in a little bit. But let me keep on reading your chats and responses. Like from Marquavius, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the live stream today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing out. And we appreciate you joining in with us on this Thursday afternoon. People are saying Zayas is having a hard weight cut. We just broke that down. He might just be. Like, that's why we talked about one side, maybe it's just him trying to stay focused, no outside turmoil. Other side, brother may be struggling to make weight. He doesn't want the public to see, hey man, this cat, weight drained, trying to make 154 this time out. Not to give too much away to the fan base. Again, rumors. I haven't been able to confirm it. I just know that's what's been going down. That's part of the things that we're talking about. Let me see. Nitro, very fair analysis. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Even if you disagree, we're just trying to give you a different perspective of look. And we want to hear you engage in the conversation. So please, keep on leaving chats. Keep on responding. Keep on sharing the show. And keep on liking the stream. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Makes a world of difference to help us go and grow as a community and get this show out to everybody all across the globe. And please, we got 12 people in the chat. Let's get 12 likes out here, or 15. How many are here? How many people are here? One like, please, helps us to go and bring more people into the conversation. But as we continue, separate from the weight cut that potentially is a problem, we need to talk about the power and the flat-footedness that we see with boxing nerd that he brought up here. This is a very important thing that we have to discuss. For real, it really is. It really is, because this is a point of emphasis that if Zayas sees this as a problem, that Boots is flat-footed and Boots can't take shots to the body, what does that tell about a game plan that we can see from Zayas? If anything, it's not just the fact that, I'm going to try to use my size, or I'm going to try to use my strength. It's going to be, I am going to make Boots have to back up against me in one way or another. You're going to hear the crowd cheering. You're going to hear the bell ringing. And then you're going to see Zayas at some point in the fight really put that flat-footed theory to the test and straight up say, all right, we got to make sure this brother, if I think he's flat-footed, we going to make a move. We're going to make this brother feel some real thudding power. We're going to make him hurt. We're going to make him hurt. We have to hurt Boots. And I'll say this personally. I think he has to hurt Boots because Zayas, we talked about all the skills that he does have at his youth, at his very faster than what we expect at maturity of a boxer and a person. Zayas still has one flaw. He is not faster in reaction time than Boots Ennis. There's going to be a need for Zayas to have to make Boots react to him and not vice versa. It's going to have to. It can't be that Boots is being able to get stuff off first, and then now you're trying to react to his speed, his combinations, his potential angles. You need to make it so that again, it's dangerous either way. Because, it opens up counter opportunities. It open the counter windows. You could potentially get caught with something. But against Boots, there's no real perfect way to nullify what's going on, especially when, like we keep bringing up with the fight with Shukajan and other people that have been able to move and make Boots work, because Boots does not like people that move in the ring and are elusive. You need to make him frustrated and respectful. And since Zayas isn't necessarily a phenomenal mover, he can move. He can definitely box at range, but he is not he's not darting, dashing left and right, up and down. He ain't looking like Stinking Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney or Shukajan or any of the more elusive boxers, Tyson Fury. He's not fighting like that. Usyk, he's not fighting like that. So even though we know he can move somewhat, you got to make it so that your height and your physicality is able to take the day, or at least take a portion of the day, and make Boots respect you. Because if Boots doesn't respect you, that's part of the reason why we've been saying his defense has been lacking. If he doesn't think you can hurt him, guess what? He's not going to care whether he tries to go and eat a shot or two. He's not going to care if somebody comes and catches him on the side of the head. Why? Because he doesn't think you can phase him. So why would I waste energy trying to be defensive against a guy that I know not only am I going to outthrow him, not only am I going to punish him, not only am I going to be able to outpower him, he can't do anything to push me back in or cause me to second guess or think of alternative routes to do what I want to do. Fastest way to point A to point B is a straight line. And for Boots, that means taking a punch or two. Okay, so be it. Fine. It's whatever. Or 3, or 5 even. Knowing Boots, if especially if he feels comfortable. Zayas got to make him say, ooh, that stunk. Oh, my. Oh, no, I didn't think. This is what 154 is like? I didn't know it was like this. I didn't know it had this level. I knew they were big. I knew they could punch. But I didn't know this is what I'm dealing with. That's what we have to see Boots fall into. For Zayas to have the ability to really make his frame and his physicality take over, or at least take a significant portion of this fight into a concrete cornerstone to have him be able to build on success. Without that, I don't think there's a shot. With that, we got ourselves something. And again, it's going to have to be he sits in the pocket and lets Boots think he's got a chance. Risk vulnerability for potential devastating execution. Because at some point in time, it's going to happen. You're going to have to go and face against a big shot. You're going to have to take a chance against Boots and force him, or force yourself to show him, I can go and catch you better than you can catch me, or equally as good as you can catch me. I can go and damage you to the body. You think you're a body snatcher? I'm going to show you what a real body puncher is. You keep calling yourself a mover, but you consistently fight people very much close, mid-range, and short range on the inside. You think you can do that against me? You got the audacity to do that against me? I'm going to make you pay. Be flat-footed if you want to against me. I'm going to go and show you this ain't what you think it is. This ain't what you think it is, Playboy. This ain't that type of, this ain't that type of world. This ain't that type of Aladdin. This is not that type of world. We're going to have you singing like Jasmine from Aladdin, because this is a whole new world. Get your magic carpet and start moving around, because if you think you can go and damage me in my own domain, outmuscle me in my own framework of mind and body, you got another thing coming, son. That's what Zayas needs to think. That's how he needs to think. That's what he's going to have to do in some case to make this fight have the best chance to turn around. Can he get knocked out? Absolutely. But it's a risk that needs to happen. It's a risk that's got to happen. It has to. Let me keep on reading your chats and responses. Marquavius, what do you think Tank is going to do? I really don't see him fighting Pitbull again. And Devin Haney is way too big for him. Well, see, how do we say this? I feel like we should save Tank for after this conversation with Zayas, because there's what he's gonna do is so convoluted because we still don't know, because everything is still up in the air. Okay, if y'all want to talk about Tank, we'll talk about Tank. For now, let me get through Zayas and Boots first, and then we'll transition into Tank, because there's a lot we got to unpack still from this whole debacle between him and Devin Haney. Do I think he'll fight Devin Haney? If what Devin Haney is saying is true, I think there is a better likelihood than I may have realized, with the talks seemingly being better and more closely potential, or have a more closely potential thing to happen than we've ever seen before. That, if that's true, is great. If Devin Haney doesn't happen, though, he was going to get a fight with Schofield. Now that it looks like it's up in smoke. He was going to fight Isaac Cruz. That fight looks like it's up in smoke. People wanted him to fight Shakur Stevenson. That fight most likely would never happen. And where he's going to fight, even at 135, we still don't know. But he keeps saying stuff is brewing. Even with them signing with Benavidez Sr., David Benavidez's dad, who trains him, who trained Ryan Garcia, and gave Ryan Garcia one of the best performances of his career against Mario Barrios. That is confirmed. He is training with Benavidez Sr. That is the biggest indication that something is happening, because you don't leave Calvin Ford for nothing. However, what that something is, we got to have some time to unpack that. So we're going to get back to Tank. But let's go and finish out with Zayas and Boots first, and then we can jump into that conversation. But let me see. Both have shown some vulnerability with their feet when on the front foot. Boots can get away with more because of his athleticism. I think Zayas I think Zayas being on the front foot is the wrong approach. And that's fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. That is absolutely fair. But now here's the thing. Also with Zayas, he does not.
And he floats like a butterfly and hits like a tree.
He's not that. He's not floating around like, again, Muhammad Ali and being able to also crack you. It's going to be Zayas has to do a little bit of what Fundora is able to do. Let's call it what it is. From a physical perspective, with the legitimately long arms that we see Zayas have, I'm not saying the reach discrepancy is exponential. Not saying that. What I am saying, though, Zayas is going to need to be able, with his athleticism and speed, not being on the same framework and playing field as what we see with Boots, he's going to have to be able to have his jab work as a fencing marker, as a line of demarcation. Use it as a defensive tool, a setup tool, and a scoring tool all at the same time. Because what we can say, Boots may not be, moving like Lomachenko, but what he is instinctual. He's instinctual. For the biggest danger with Zayas in this fight is the instincts of Boots Ennis. The biggest instance of danger for Xander Zayas in this fight are the instincts of Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis versus Xander Zayas is really a question of, can Boots' instincts go and make everything that Zayas wants to do obsolete? He reacts in a split second. He reacts on a dime. He reacts where a lot of times, we talked about it before, outside of Stanionis, a lot of Boots' defense was instantaneous. Up, okay, you're right here. Okay, now I'm up. Your punch is coming right here. Now I'm just grazing you. Sure, it looks flashy and all that stuff. But again, it also caused him to get hit a lot. Some of which his own accord, others of which because of what the opponent was doing. And he just wasn't foundationally sound. But that's been so good that his athleticism and instincts of person have been able to go and move through everybody and make everybody have the capacity to say, you can get the same work. You can get caught the same way. Though you think you can touch me, you can't. You mitigate those instincts by giving them something to worry about all the time. Make that jab frustrate him. Get under the skin of Boots Ennis. Make him uncomfortable with saying, I know I can just put you out, but it's just not happening. Why is it not happening? Why am I so annoyed in this fight? You'll see him talking to the crowd, sure. You'll see him pandering. But look at what he did against look at David Avanesian, and again, look at Sugar John. Both Sugar John fights are the most important fights to show the pitfalls of Boots in the regard of what can make him be less than what he wants to be. If he gets annoyed in the ring, Boots becomes, no, honestly, a different fighter. Boots does not like stuff, I don't want to say being difficult, but he doesn't like it when the stuff that he does doesn't work. And he's asking, why are you still around? Why are you still here? You see it in his face. You see it in his body language. You see it when he's moving in the ring, and all of a sudden, if a clinch happens, they zoom in on his face. This brother's rolling his eyes, throwing his hands up in the air, taking big huffs and sighs, then going and the work that what he was doing shifts a little bit. Now he's trying to really put some more leather on it, but some of the setups start to change. Some of the reaction time that he had starts to maybe be off just a little, because now he's annoyed. An annoyed Boots is a Boots that is still very hard to beat, but it's more beatable than any other version of Boots. An annoyed Boots that lets his emotions sometimes get the best of him, where you see it affect his work in the ring. That's a Boots that Zayas can beat. That's a Boots that he's got to bring out. That's a Boots Ennis, in all honesty. If he talks like he's been talking in these press conferences, like he's been talking in these interviews, if he talks like he's been talking in the build up to this fight in the ring, and he gets under Boots' skin, that can affect what goes on. It might seem minute, but it's something that legitimately happens. We've seen it. We've seen it. Some of the biggest talkers in the game have used that as their basis of operation to make it so that you're thrown off. Roberto Duran got Sugar Ray Leonard to fight his fight and not bounce and move around, but straight up stay in the pocket with Duran all 15 rounds of their championship bout. The first time they fought. Because he talked him out of his game. Ali, talking to Cleveland, what's my name? I think it was Cleveland. I said what his name was. But even if it wasn't, he's talked against everybody. George Foreman, is that all you got? Is that all you're doing? You can do better than that. I know this ain't the George Foreman that I thought that was going to be. This ain't the person that he said was going to kill me, was it? Because this ain't nothing. Weak Tyson Fury in the modern day. Talking a whole bunch. This is a legitimate tactic that you can use against Boots. Even if it only affects the ability slightly, it can affect it enough that openings and opportunities of what Zayas wants to do can actually be more viable than if Boots is just able to feel comfortable, feel not just fresh and in control, but feel like the way I'm trying to break you down, everything is going according to plan. You get him out of that element, you turn this fight into a different potential look. You don't. It's going to be a long night. It really will. It's going to be a very long night. But this is a fight that Zayas has the opportunity to be able to upset. This will be the last thing before we move on to tanking other things. Zayas has a potential upset. Yeah, 350, underdog, all that stuff, perfectly fine. This does not mean that it is impossible. This is just going to be very difficult. But this is a win that is able to be attained, as drastic as it may sound. Because though we've said that Zayas hasn't faced off against a lot of competition of the uber elite variety in the same way as Boots, where they both share the same levels of concern with their careers, though one is just younger, way younger than the other, the question is still the same. At this level, at this tip-top shape of boxing, at this elite threshold, who are you? Both of them have to answer that. And it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that we know who's going to get that answer. But don't be overly concrete without understanding that there is a viability that everything that we think Boots can be could get potentially turned on its head because Zayas has ways to win. Though you may not want to take it seriously, not saying that you're not, but though some people may say it's highly unlikely, they turn that into an impossibility. It's not impossible. It's not impossible at all. He can get a chance. He got a real shot. It's low, but it's there. And he's good enough and his potential is big enough. If he reaches it in this fight or even elevates in this fight to get closer to that potential, Boots could have a lot harder time than we think. He really could. But again, I still have Boots by knockout in about round 7 or 8. No, round 7. I got him by knockout in round 7. But don't be surprised if Boots does win. If it is in 5. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And for Zayas to win, how he would win? Probably by split decision. Probably by split decision. Or in the off chance that that body work that he's talking about actually does work, shoot, I'd be shocked. But my gosh, if he did, if he was able to knock him out, hey, the power at 154 is different. So it might actually be, well, the most out there scenario. An actual possibility. But that's my prediction for the fight. That's my whole breakdown for it. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully you had some fun with it. We still got more stuff to talk about on this show. And going back to the other conversations that we had with people in the chat, like with Boots, Ennis. Now we can, like with Tank Davis, now more Aquarius, we can jump into this conversation of Boots, or Tank, and what he's going to do, who he's going to fight, and how all this is going to unfold. Because though we are not trying to make everything just a Tank Davis episode, Tank Davis has been a fighter now. He's back in the limelight. And because of that, everything has just flipped where everybody's asking questions. But the same thing, the same questions are still around when it comes to Tank Davis. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? What is he going to do? This has been as big of a story as we've seen with Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Tank, Devin Haney. All of this talk about what can potentially happen. All this talk about the big fights. He's coming back. He's going to show up. He's going to show out. Everything's about to go and jump off a cliff in terms of excitement, energy, engagement. We're all ready to see Tank return, right? I would think so. But that's the problem. We're waiting. And we're consistently waiting. And he's been championed for over 400 days, and we still been waiting on him to make a move. Thought we talked about the sport passing him by. We've already talked about the hierarchy of boxing is different. Now just straight up with Tank here. I want to know, what do you all want to see? Because I can give all the fights that we can potentially have happen. I can give all the fights what would be a good fight or bad fight. I just want to know what you all want to see for Tank to return in the ring. And please, if you're here, keep on liking the stream and keep on sharing the show as we're talking about all this stuff in the world of boxing and beyond. A little bit later, we're going to talk about the NBA absolutely later on in the show, though. But regardless of right now, conversation's Tank. Strictly, what do you want? What do you want him to do? Because what I wanted him to do, people may not like. What I want him to do, people may say, that's a little bit too far. What I want him to do, people may have some pushback against. But we're going to go ask what I want him to do. I want him to fight Devin Haney. I want him to fight Devin Haney. Without a doubt. Without any safety net either. I want it. I want to see it happen. Why? You may say Devin Haney's too big. And I'm not just saying this to you, Mark Quavis. I'm saying this in general. For me, I want to see Boots fight there. I want to see Boots take that test. I want to see Boots push the limits of what's possible and take that fight. Because I have constantly heard this man can beat anybody. I've lauded his ability and skills. They did earn the respect. But now we're at a point where you got to prove it more than ever. And just fighting the names that some people want him to face off against, Isak Cruz would be a good fight, but again, not going to happen. Lamont Roach could have been there, but it's in a rematch that we wanted to see, but it didn't happen. Abdullah Mason at 135. He's fighting, I think it's Albert Bell that just got replaced for him. We would love to see that. It's not going to happen. Raymond Murataya, who's champion at 135. It's not going to happen. Shakur Stevenson at 140. He could go in with all these talks of, I want big nose until the Tank. They was talking about Devin Haney. I want to fight Devin Haney and shut his mouth up. All that stuff. With all that talk and with the talk between Shakur and Devin Haney breaking down seemingly and that fight no longer on the table, well, guess what? You could swoop back in and say, hey, I want to fight Shakur. But that's not going to happen. Why? Even though it would make more sense than even fighting Devin Haney. But all of them should be people that Tank should fight straight up. Because they were all at 135 at one point in time while Tank was there. And when they were one weight class above him, he still didn't do it. And when they were 2 weight classes above him, he still didn't do it. And the same thing was, Devin Haney's too big. Shakur Stevenson's too big. Everybody's too big for Tank. Why? When he fought somebody bigger than all of them, and Mario Barrison knocked him out. Why is that an issue? Devin Haney was still blowing up to 160 when he was at 135. Why didn't that fight happen? Shakur Stevenson showed on his own Instagram he can get up to 173. He can balloon up to 173 pounds. We showed this on the last episode. Tuesday. He can do it. So why is it all of a sudden no longer a concern? Or rather, why isn't it being brought up for him? I want to see Tank take on these names because now you could have had him earlier and you chose to not move and face off against them. And now they're at a bigger weight. They naturally got bigger and moved up. Yet your name is still around them in the fight. And now you saying you want to fight them directly. Now I ain't got no excuse to say, oh, Tank is too small for anybody, because now he's saying he wants Devin Haney. He must not think he's too big. He must not think it's unfair. And if Devin Haney ain't unfair for him, if he's put Devin Haney on his hit list, if he's put Shakur on his hit list, all these names by his own accord are worthy to fight. They are what I want. It ain't my fault that I'm just keeping true to his word and trying to say, you said you wanted this, so let's see you make it happen. We want to, I won't even say we, because everybody else got a different opinion. I want to see him fight Devin Haney and Shakur and Tia and Abdullah Mason and Murataya. All those names and more. But I got to see some work. I need to see it. Because there's too much going in circles and we don't have a concrete situation of what he wants to do. Because the real question with Tank is, what is his MO? Because right now he's asking for other names. They're not asking for him. He's asking for other names. They're not asking for him. They'll take him. But most other fighters that were quote unquote revolving around Tank now have their own solar system of fighters that are trying to get and center them in their careers. So because of that, some sacrifices you got to make. You got to. If you want to get these big fights. Because now they are at a different position of leverage. Tank, you could have had that leverage if you had fought him when you were supposed to. Since you didn't, that's where we at. And guess what that means? We want to see you do work. And you're going to have to take a risk. You're great enough to do it, but you're going to have to do it nonetheless. Let me see. I would love to see Tank versus Shakur, or him versus his mandatory, and then rematch with Roach. Yeah, him versus Floyd Schofield. I wish that was going down. When that first broke, we were all excited. When that news first broke, we were all excited to have that fight go down. We were all excited to have Tank versus Schofield happen. I was elated. That was a fight that I said I want to see that take place. After Tevin Farmer, Schofield versus Shakur, Schofield versus Tank, Schofield versus Mason, any of those names, I was saying, okay, he is ready to take that leap. Will he win? I don't know, but now he's in position with enough fights and with a big enough win under his belt. I can be confident he belongs in this conversation. He deserves not just to be mandatory, but deserves to be amongst the 5 best names here that we all got to say, hey, this brother's worth his weight in gold for what type of danger he can pose for all these other names. I want to see that happen. And it was going to happen. It looked like it was going to happen right then. But now it looks like Tank's going to get stripped of his belt from the WBA because his mandatory, who is Floyd Schofield, is not happening because he hasn't agreed to sign the thing. And Schofield seems going on social media saying, hey, get ready to say and the new, because it looks like he ain't going to sign the fight. I hope it's wrong, though. I hope he does fight. I hope he does make the fight with Schofield if that is the last option that he takes, because something's got to be brewing. Because he's actively training him. Something has to be brewing because David Benavidez Sr. is giving indications clearly Tank is training with me. Something's about to happen. What it is, we just don't know. What our expectations should be, I think we should quell them, however, in regards to what we don't know. Even with all this talk, I'm going to tell you this right now. Do not expect Tank Davis to take any measure of high quality fight at this point in time. Don't do it. Do not expect Gervonta Davis to take a high danger fight for all the talk that he's doing right now. Why? Because we've seen this story before and nothing ever shakes. We've seen the same story before and most of the time nothing happens. Most of the time, 99% of the time, 0% of the talk turns into action. Almost every time we've seen Tank speak about wanting to move and fight, not all the time, but most of the time, we hear him gas it up. We hear him move. We think it's going to be angled towards one of the 5 people that were around his vicinity: Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia in the rematch, Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, or unify at 135, and then he doesn't do it. Get excited. Sure, something's happening. But do not get your hopes up about what's going to go down. Because most likely, you're going to be let down if Tank's trying to make a fight. Because how has he moved throughout his whole career? Most of the time, money, not even most of the time, all the time, he said himself, money is the driving force, not the legacy. There is no legacy in the way that Tank wants to fight. There's no legacy in the way that Tank wants to move throughout his career. He said, I want to get my money and dip, and he's been living up to that moniker. Because of that, the easiest route to success and monetary value, belt or no belt, has been the biggest thing to make stuff shake. Now, with Devin Haney making his cachet bigger, with Shakur making his cachet bigger, with all these other fighters now getting a level of respect and positioning, top 10 pound for pound, top 5 pound for pound, selling out Madison Square Garden, highlighting New York City, having one of the biggest fights of the year with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. We've had countless situations. Okay, they can get these big fights without me there and on their own merit. They are driving the force of what boxing conversation and boxing's money is. They've got their own platform. Perfect. Now it's time to go and make stuff shake. We would think that would be the case, but again, it's Tank. So because it's Tank, the only thing that we know about Tank is that he is only serving himself. And he said that publicly. So we can talk about all these other fights, and I would love to. I'm telling you, do not get your hopes up with anything involving Tank Davis. Most likely, it's going to end in a crash and burn where nothing takes place. Nobody fights anybody. Or he does get a fight, but it's with somebody that is again at 130 pounds, moving up. Or at 135, a decent name, even a good name, but nobody fitting where he should be fighting in skill level, accolades, and elite ability right now in the middle of his prime in his career. It will almost assuredly not be anybody like that. If it is, I will gladly eat my words. But he's shown me time and time again that's not how he operates. So I'm going to choose to believe him. I'm going to choose to believe him. Let me see. Did you see that Crocker fight last night? It was fire. Look, man, I didn't get to see the fight, but I got to see the highlights. That fight was ridiculous. That fight was insane. That was wild, that Crocker fight. I didn't think Crocker could fight like that. Shoot. I did not think he could fight. I didn't think that fight was going to be anywhere that level of competitive. Just outright excited. I did not think Crocker had it like that. My goodness. My gosh. To put on a display like that, I got to give some applause. I got to get some respect. That shocked me. Let me see. I love Tank training with Jose Sr. One critique of Tank has been his punch output. Benavidez has the highest output in championship boxing besides William Zepeda. Jose Sr. could help Tank out a lot. And this was another thing about Gervonta Davis that some people were concerned with. Tank had some, not even some. The biggest thing about Tank, like you said here, the brother is patient. The brother's patient. Yeah, again, somebody brought it up when I was making shorts for the video comparing Devin Haney and Tank Davis and what that fight would look like. Polar opposites of each other that are perfect matches, that are perfect counters against each other. Devin Haney being defensive and conservative. Tank being aggressive and powerful. Yes, we know Tank is a patient fighter. Aggressive, he goes for the knockout. That's what I meant. But the biggest thing I've hated about him is that low output. He thinks, and he thinks sublimely. He is so good that he fights in such a pace that he's going to build himself up to gain position to get the KO that he wants. And it's wonderful. It's beautiful. He's a literal master at being able to create a game plan and execute it in the ring to guarantee, even if I am giving up some rounds, I'm still going to be able to tie it up by the time we get to the second half and then knock you out because there's nothing you can do. He's a master. Master. But that's what got him in trouble with Lamont Roach. That low output. That low output. And Lamont Roach building up with Tank made it so that Tank couldn't just find all the openings. Up, download the game plan, Okay, I know what to do because I'm not going to give you everything. I'm going to give you as much as you give me in this fight. And then we're going to see what actually happens. That is what we saw Lamont do. Help turn that fight into such a impressive affair of shock and awe that should have had him winning the fight and becoming a champion at 135. It should have been the upset of the year. He won that fight outright. But in part, it's because of that low output. And we had even said this before this fight with Lamont Roach. Before any of this. One of the things I said about Tank early in the years of doing this channel. Tank's output, if you can win the first 6 and then just score one more, and you're good enough to move and be defensive and be able to, it's going to be hard to say, but now that we've seen somebody do it, it's actually possible. Stay till the end of the round, you can win. Because at a certain point in time, with how Tank fights, there is an opportunity that he doesn't just, okay, the game plan isn't, I'm going to knock you out. It becomes a necessity. I have to knock you out or I'm going to lose. You saw the desperation and the urgency that he had, at least somewhat, when he was fighting against Lamont Roach, the body language that he was incurring inside the ring, the way he was sitting and talking in his own corner with it might have not even been with Calvin Ford, because Calvin Ford, I don't think, was able to be there on that night, but I digress. He, at some point in time in that Lamont Roach fight, it got to a point, Tank wasn't just fighting, okay, the game plan, I'm going to just spark him out and knock him out. If I don't do that, I'm going to lose. That was what the overarching atmosphere of that fight, of that building, what I was feeling inside my living room with my friends that was watching this fight. This cat might lose this fight because he has not been able to hurt him and stop him and take the rounds necessary to even gain a lead as we're going into round 9 and subsequently round 10. And he gave up enough rounds in rounds 1 through 5 that now at this point, because he didn't bag him earlier, I don't want to, it sounds crazy to say, too methodical for his own good. I don't say that in the means of, okay, yeah, this brother, you were just too patient, you should have just thrown. No. But the part of that was that activity, lack thereof. Let Lamont be able to keep up with Tank. And once you're in a rhythm of, I have your rhythm, one of the greatest rhythm fighters that we've seen in history, Joe Frazier, the biggest part about his game was the head movement, the left hook and power. It wasn't just a left hook. He had a great uppercut and just hooks all around. But the left hook, the greatest left hook in boxing, the head movement, the bobbing and weaving style with that cross guard and the rhythm. Not just fighting in his own rhythm, but being able to get the timing and rhythm of his opposition. It's why those fights with Ali, when nobody else seemed like they could really get what Ali was doing and undefeated, it was Frazier that pushed him to that brink. Why? And got the win. Why? Because once you get in tune with what somebody else is doing, all of a sudden, it's not as daunting to try to think what's coming next and what I need to do. Now you're in perfect sync with the opposition. You're in their mind, you're in their own style. That's what made Joe Frazier one of the greatest heavyweights we've ever seen. One of the greatest rhythmic fighters that we had seen in boxing history. When it comes to Tank, that song and rhythm picks up slow. It's not bad. It's just there's a vulnerability that at some point in time, somebody plays a certain beat the wrong way. You can't sync yourself up like you need to. You need to speed up, but you ain't doing it like you ought to. You need to pick up the pace, but you're not doing it because, again, that's not you, which is not bad, but it can bite you in the butt. And it nearly did against Lamont Roach. Jose Benavidez Sr. can be the very thing that fixes all of that. A Tank Davis that has the capacity to throw combinations. I'm not even saying he's going to throw like William Zepeda or he's going to start throwing like Esau Cruz. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this guy's going to come in and all of a sudden round 1, he's thrown 50 hooks. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, a more aggressive Tank, in my opinion, would be more dangerous because it would set the precedent of fear earlier on in the opposition to see, hey, these early mistakes, he's already catching me. And now I'm a little bit concerned. Benavidez does that perfectly. Oftentimes, Benavidez, he'll start piling on the stuff after round 2. Why? Because he's establishing the respect early in his fight. And by the time you get later on, now that respect is only grown because not only were you countering me earlier, but you're doing it and getting more aggressive after you were already aggressive as we're going into round 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You're driving the stake into the heart of the opponent early on. And then from the fight, you are now consistently hammering that stake into the heart. It's a lot easier to do that over 12 when you up your pace a little bit. Rather than, okay, you need to get this done by this amount of time. And yeah, you're starting off in a slow rhythm. But ultimately, okay, I'm going to hit the sweet spot on the nail and it's going to go down. But sometimes you just need to pick up the pace of the rate at which you're hitting the nail. And you could drive that nail into the heart quicker. And in fact, more fervently get your opponent to feel the urgency of the moment. Because now already in round 2, round 4, round 5, I'm in trouble. This early on. Oh my. I got to deal with this for the next 6 rounds. I've already been caught, been hurt, been rocked. And he's still coming forward. He's still being aggressive. He's not just waiting anymore. He's already pushing on the gas. And I'm just trying to get some level of reprieve. At least when he's fighting like Tank now, we know when that gas pedal is going to be pressed after round 5. You get a Tank that's throwing more punches early, doing similar combinations to Dave Benavidez, throwing combinations to the body and to the head more urgently, more fervently when his opponents are on the ropes, when his opponents are even walking down, taking his counter opportunities and not just throwing one shot, but now you're following it up with punches going forward, chasing your opposition to the ropes. Never letting them have a chance to feel relief. With the power that you got and the explosiveness that you can throw, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. For real, that's a nightmare. That is an absolute nightmare. I think it can make Tank crazy enough to say, I think it can make Tank a better offensive fighter. I think it can. I really do think it can. I don't think, yo, you need to understand, Benavidez, the whole camp, is every window is a window to punch. Their entire identity, every opportunity is an opportunity to punch. Every situation is a situation to hurt somebody. You're on the back foot, you can hurt them. You're on the front foot, you can hurt them. They're on the ropes, you can hurt them. You're on the ropes, you can hurt them. You're in a clinch, you can hurt them. No matter where you go, what you do, where you are, what round it is in the fight, or who the opponent is, wherever you are in the ring, there's a chance for you to hurt somebody. You just got to know where that chance is and what to do. With Tank, picks his spots, absolutely, perfect. Now imagine still picking his spots, but also making his own openings, like David Benavidez. Imagine him making his own openings instead of just being an uber patient counterpuncher. And now you combine the two. He still is patient. He still is looking for you to make a mistake. He still is able to capitalize. But also, now, even when you don't capitalize, he is making his own way and opening his own door without you needing to throw anything. That is what I want to see Tank be. That's a Tank that, again, can beat Devin Haney, can beat Shakur Stevenson, can beat Keyshawn Davis, could beat 147, 140, 135. He can do all the stuff that people say he is. He's already had that ability. This could make him even more potent to beat all these names. Because he wouldn't lose anything that he already is. He just gains better offensive ability and a pace that allows him to fight differently. That is never bad. With Tank, that can be great. It's just, it would open up every opportunity that, yeah, I want to see him face off against these other names even more so. Even more. And it can work flawlessly. It can work flawlessly. This can really be a great situation. Regardless of whatever happened with Calvin Ford, which again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what broke down. I don't know why he left. I have no clue as to why. I'm just looking into the future, and the future shows me that there can be some real growth with Tank offensively with Benavidez singing. Really can be. He really can be. And this fighter, if he does look like what I think he can look like, with a Benavidez training camp, with a Benavidez coach, with Benavidez himself teaching us some things, who he's even said, I got respect for. He don't respect barely anybody. Turns to Tank Davis. All of a sudden, a lot of people's recent changes in who they think could beat Tank, if he looks like what I think he would look like, they would walk that back. They would. They would. Even I would. Because that would be a menace of a man. That could be undisputed. That could go and fight 4 to 5 top caliber names across multi-weight classes and be able to rank, rule, and take over 3 divisions if he wanted to. Because I think he would be just that good. I really do. But this could be great. This can be absolutely great for Tank to train with Benavidez Sr. And it could turn him into a monster. He's already a monster. It could turn him into an even more destructive weapon of mass destruction than what he already is in Gervonta Davis. It's gonna be. I can't wait. I can't wait to see. This is gonna be a sight to see. It's gonna be such a sight to see. I can't wait for it. My gosh, man, it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be phenomenal. And like, y'all don't understand how exciting this can be. Y'all don't understand how exciting this can be. Because think about what this would do for the other matchups of Tank against Schofield. You'd be able to go an aggressive fighter. Boom. I can potentially catch you in the same way I caught Rolly Romero, but earlier on. Because now I'm more eager to go and try to take on shots. Schofield, not Schofield, Shakur, the precision and power, boom, I'm able to go and punch my way through your defense. And when you get in the corner, training with Benavidez, I'm better at being able to pick apart that Philly shell and have potentially have the opportunity to be the guy to break that impenetrable defense. Excuse me. Devin Haney. If he fought against Devin Haney, even though you want to say Devin Haney's bigger or smaller, whatever the case may be, against Devin Haney, we already know he can knock him out. You get a better aggressive Tank that's able to still cut the defense, cut the distance, cut through the jab, and catch Haney. What we would think would be similar to what we would see from when Ryan Garcia fought against him. You can knock him out. There's a bunch of ways this fight can go, and I would love to see it. But even still, or these fights can go, and I would love to see it. But we still got more stuff that we can cover on this show, like with some stuff regarding the returns of some boxers coming into the ring, like with Errol Spence Jr. If you were not aware, Errol Spence is making his way back into boxing as he is looking to stamp his claim yet again as one of the top echelon fighters in the sport. And I want you all to see some stuff going on, because with some of the training footage, we've had some excitement, but also there might be some cause for some concern in the world of Errol Spence. And I'll show you that and let you see exactly what I mean right here as we're going into the world of picture and picture real quick and showing you some of the footage of of Spence, training for his fight against Tim Tszyu. As we transition over right now, here we go. Where's that? Hold on. Is it here? Is it here? Is it not here? There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're here. And come look at the footage, and I'll let it speak for itself, and we'll talk about it afterwards. But here's Errol Spence training, working, and getting ready for his fight with the likes of Tim Tszyu, with his new coach in Ronnie Shields. The what? Hold on. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. What the world? Okay, I think that specific file might have been corrupted a little bit. But even still, that's just one of the two angles that we've seen from Errol Spence. This is another one of him training straight up power shots, going and working against, I forget who the woman is, but I believe she's been part of her team for a minute. But here you see him throwing the vaulted hooks to the body that we've seen from Spence before, as he's getting preparing to go touch downstairs against the likes of Tim Tszyu. So with these clips, I'm not just trying to play this just to play it. There's some real conversation, because this is still a big fight people have been discussing and want to see. And I'll play these videos as I'm talking, because I think this is a very needed conversation to have in regards to Errol Spence Jr. And that is Errol Spence right now, with the way that he's looking. We may be excited, and Lord knows I am, but I'm not going to let what I see, I'm not going to lie about what I see right now. What I see right now is an Errol Spence. I see an Errol Spence that's slow. I really do. I do. I see an Errol Spence right now that what we're looking at here. Yes, he's going. He's getting ready. He's prepared. I don't know when in the workout this is, but what I do know, there is a legitimate visual level of rust and mechanics not being what they used to be in these clips of him fighting, in these clips of him sparring, in these clips of him working the pads, and even just going through the motions of changing levels and throwing. I'm not saying this is terrible. I'm not. And again, this doesn't tell the story of what we can see on the night. We saw Keith Thurman look decent. Dare I say, shocked the world with how he was looking going up against, getting ready for his fight with the front door, though. But some of the same things. But it looked slow. But it didn't have the same level of oomph in his movements. And some things about Errol Spence hold that same weight. And I'm very concerned going up against Tim Tszyu. I really am. I can't deny. I can't deny. I can't deny. This right, it really is this right here. This right here. This sequence of him walking down and throwing. This doesn't look like what I remember from Errol Spence, fought Kell Brook, who fought Ugas, going into the world of Terrence Crawford. And I do think this is a part because of this layoff. These 3 years out the ring, I'm telling you, it's very rare for somebody to be able to go through and thrive after having so much time away from the sport. What you're looking at right here is a man that rust may be catching up to him. This was also in compounding with them saying that, hey, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this sport. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't know how long I'm going to go around and stay around in the world of boxing. It could be after this is my last hurrah. I'm done. It could be after this, I'm out of here. It could be after this, hey, bon voyage. Adios, amigos. I'm out. See y'all later. Is it bad that I'm concerned? I don't think so. Is it fair that I'm concerned? I do think so. Is it necessary to be concerned? Yes, it is. And is this us overreacting? Or rather me, I'll say me. Is this me overreacting? In all honesty, I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't. And this, coupled with him saying, this could be my last fight. I'm already thinking about retirement. Whatever happens, happens. Essentially is what he was saying. Whatever happens, happens. Wherever the fight goes, wherever the fight goes. Either way, I'm gone. It's whatever. Oh well. I've been hanging out with my family. I've been enjoying life. All of this looks like that is what's on his mind. And all of this looks like, even though he's still stayed in shape, even though he's still been working and grinding to make sure he's not losing himself. He's always been fit. The discipline may not have left, but the motivation has. At least in a potential perspective. This Errol Spence against Tim Tszyu, this can get bad. And it's not just because we're saying that Tim Tszyu is just he's so dominant. The emphasis is the speed of Errol Spence Jr. He's dealing with somebody at 154, regardless of what you want to say about Tim Tszyu. And Tim Tszyu is somebody who is very much in the twilight years of his career. I'm not denying that at all. But Tim Tszyu has a level of hand speed at this division that if Errol Spence is not careful, he will get put out. and he will get caught and knocked out. It's absolutely, without question. He's got a level of hand speed that though it takes a second for Tim Tszyu to start using it, when he does use it, he puts people's legs up. He puts his combinations start flowing. He can push you back. Though he's a slow starter, this brother, he has the capacity to trade, catch, and really go and turn your life and turn you out. Because the way I'm seeing Errol Spence throw some of these shots, forget just saying, it's not the same. There is, as he's trying to throw, I keep seeing there's a window. Something can come across there. Something can come across there. It really can. Something can go and trade with you and beat your punch out. Because it's not snappy. It's not deliberate. It doesn't have the same technical sharpness as is necessary when you're trying not to be a champion, but as you're just trying to come back against somebody that is indeed this dangerous. Tim Tszyu has faster hands right now than the likes of Errol Spence Jr. Based on this footage, I can say that confidently based on what we've seen from Tim Tszyu, even in the losses that he's had in the fights, but versus Fundor 1, Fundor 2, and even Bakwa. Tim Tszyu may be flat-footed. Yes, he is. Tim Tszyu may not move his head. No, he doesn't. Tim Tszyu may not have the best of defense. Absolutely not. What Tim Tszyu does have is the ability to trade with the best in the business. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And Errol Spence right now, it's going to turn into that type of battle, because Errol Spence is the front foot fighter. Errol Spence is somebody that will look to move forward. Errol Spence is somebody who is dedicated to working and absolutely decimating your body, going downstairs and flooding the basement, sabotaging the foundations of your body, mind, and spirit by a consistent onslaught of damage, danger, and power, with an endurance that can last all fight long. That is what he wants to do, and that bleeds into the perfect storm of what we know Tim Tszyu wants to do. He wants you to be right in front of him. He wants to be able to plant his feet with you. He wants to be able to be in the pocket and have the capacity. All right, patient, hook. Up, my hook back you up. Now I can really start throwing two-punch combinations. Up, now you're to the ropes. Now I can start opening up. Power versus power, that's my game. Fight like a warrior. That's what he said he wants to do. That's what he said he is. And that's what Errol Spence is going to bring. Because Errol Spence, that's how he fights. He only knows one way. He only knows one way. That is to come forward. He only knows one way, and that is to go and push through the opposition. Take your spirit. Bludgeoning shots to break up your will. It's not a body snatcher, he's a will snatcher. He's broken bones. He's broken faces. He's broken orbital bones. He's gone through and demoralized opposition. He's changed careers. Ugas has yet to fight again since his fight with Errol Spence. Kell Brook shortly afterwards had to retire. And when he fought against, he subsequently had to fight against Terrence Crawford. Brook started at the beginning of the end. He's been vaunted with his power. He's been vaunted with his damage. He's been vaunted with his endurance. All of that is warranted and worthy. All of that can be tested and put to rest if what we saw with Bakwan and Tim Tszyu happens to Errol Spence. And I'm scared that it might. Because Errol Spence is not faster than Tim Tszyu. He just ain't. Errol Spence on the inside, with what we're seeing with this training footage, he is not faster than Tim Tszyu. He would not be able to beat Tim Tszyu out on shots because he looks rusty. He looks not old, but he doesn't look motivated in the same way that he was. And he doesn't look as sharp as he once was. even though he's still in shape, this Errol Spence, there's something missing that would have made these same combinations have a level of devastating effect on the viewer and on the fighter. And right now it's not there, because right now Errol Spence is still fighting to get back to zero. That's the truth. This fight is not just bigger. This fight is not just a comeback fight. This fight is not just a fight to get Errol Spence back in the winner's column. Oh, the big fish is back in a pond of food, and he's ready to feast as the biggest apex predator in the land. Undisputed, here we come. It's not just about that. He's fighting to get back to zero. The words he said himself, I don't know if this is it. If you listen to the interviews, he's taking care of his body. He's better situated with how he should live his lifestyle. He's no longer going into the vices and problems that used to plague him in his career all throughout his life, even before the likes of Terrence Crawford in that fight. He said it himself, saying me just making stuff up. That is great. But he is also speaking from a perspective, I'm trying to get back to baseline now. My comeback is about me. If I'm back to zero, not better or worse, but just back to what I was, I got a shot. But the question is, can I even get back there? Has the life that I led potentially ripped away that ability to get myself back to zero? And with the long layoff, am I limited to the point that I going through all this stuff, going through all this work on the night of the fight, it's just like, oh man, I'm just not that man anymore. I don't want that to be the case. I want Errol Spence to come back. Be clear, I want Errol Spence to be able to win. I want to see Errol Spence get titles. I want to see Errol Spence get big enough he can fight or win this fight, go afterwards, go fight Charlo, beat and knock out Charlo, go through and then get a shot at one of the top 5 in the world of 154. Keep on winning, potentially get a title, or get in line to have a title, then have a swan song comeback story. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see a second act for Errol Spence that is better than the first. I would love to see an Errol Spence validate, hey, this brother was not what he needed to be at 147. Now at 144, this is the real man. This is the real cat. All of a sudden, pull Terrence Crawford out of retirement. Hey, man, we got some unfinished business. I'm where I need to be now. Let's see what you got. Whether it happens or not, just the drumming up of excitement. Errol Spence brings a bunch of excitement to the boxing world. It's great with him here. It's phenomenal with him here. And I want him here. But these are the questions that we have to be real about, that we're asking about Errol Spence. It's not just about the comeback. It's about him. It's not just about him training and working and getting into the ring. It's about what he is capable of. Because just like I said with Zayas, his ceiling is very high for where he can reach. And that is true. But for Spence, the ceiling has deteriorated. It's lowered. What his potential was, he reached it. Cool. But now what he can elevate back up to may not be nearly as high, because some of that foundation has crumbled. And so the ceiling of what your new reality is naturally lower. And even then, getting to that ceiling that is lower is exponentially harder because of where you're at in life right now. This is what we want to have answered with Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu. And though I can say what I think for this training footage, all that we're going to know is we're going to find out on the night of. But just understand, it is not being too, what's the word? We're not being too cautious when it comes to Errol Spence. We are being skeptical due to his own words and actions. And I want to see him be the best that he can be. I want to see him beat Tim Tszyu and take on the world. But I also know there is a real reality that by the time this fight with Tim Tszyu ends, L. Spence gets on the mic and says, yep, I ain't got it no more. I can't do it no more. I don't have what I need to be me. In love and respect, but I'm going to my family and I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my life. I'm happy, healthy, and I'm able to be at home with my kids and everything that I got with my loved ones. I'm all right, which happy for him. But that would signal that time passes by. So it's a dangerous thing. It's a really dangerous thing. It's a really dangerous situation for this fight. That's the reality that we had to deal with for Spence. But as somebody that has been watching him, I personally don't want it to end like this. But only time will tell whether or not that will be the answer to the end of the Errol Spence story, or just another chapter in the career of one of the more influential faces that we've had of the last generation of boxing. Either way, we're going to find out how it goes, and we're going to see it as it unfolds. But with all that being said, I think we still got more to cover on this show, but we can go and delve into, actually, we're making some good time. Actually, we can go and delve into the world of the championship rounds earlier than we expected. We still got a lot that we can talk about, but we do want to go through and give you all a chance to have the opportunity to say more stuff about what's going on in your own words and in your own mind and ask your own questions. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to shift gears and jump into your chats, your voice, your conversations, and your debates. And it's time to jump into the world of the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Let's get it started. Let's get it popping. Let's get it going. Yeah, buddy. It's time to shine. It's time to work. It's time to let your voice be heard. And it's time to let your chats fly as we listen to your thoughts and opinions on anything involving the world of boxing and beyond, the NBA, the NFL, other topics around the boxing landscape that we didn't get to discuss or have not discussed that you want to bring up. Things about Zayas or Boots, things about Bam and Inouye, things about Shakur, Keyshawn, Tank, Devin Haney. With this fight with Zayas and Boots, if you think I'm wrong that Zayas is going to win, I want to hear from you. More stuff with Gervonta Davis if you so choose, as to dream matchups you want to have or who you think can beat Tank at this stage in Tank's career, even though he's at his prime, what Tank is mentally. All that stuff we can discuss with you all right here on this show. We got 30 minutes to an hour, and we want to have your voice be seen and heard. So please keep on chatting, keep on responding, and keep on liking the stream and sharing the show. Shameless plug, because we got to do it. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That's right, be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube. And be sure to leave a like on the stream, hit the notification bell, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. I almost forgot. I gotta put my super chat goal up for this thing. I almost forgot. I keep on needing to do that every show. I don't know why I forget, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let me see. Add 1 hour to the show. That'll be our incentive for the day. But yeah, we gotta do the super chat goal. We're trying to get at least 10 super chats a day of any amount if possible. I forgot to make sure I do that thing. Either way, if you can do it, great. If not, oh well. We're just here trying to go and enjoy the show, trying to make this thing work and trying to grow this channel and make you entertained as you're going throughout your afternoon. But let's jump into the championship round, shall we? And let's talk about more stuff involving the outer limits of the boxing and sports world right now. And as we're going through that, we got some news involving Boots, Ennis, and Zayas. More specifically, who Boots is going to fight if he does take on Zayas and win the unified 147 or 154 pound titles at super welterweight, with Bozy Ennis, Boots' dad and trainer, chiming in on his own conversation. This is what he had to say involving what's going to be next for Boots Ennis if he beats Xander Zayas. And let me make sure you all can see it real quick before I even click on play. Okay, boom. Okay, y'all can see it. And I'm going to let him tell you He's gunning after one tall glass of water per Ennis in Sebastian Fundora.
After he gets the 2 belts, guys looking towards any other fights or anything special after he gets these 2 belts?
I don't like to look here time, I like to who we had to fight, what I'm saying? Think about it, you can't take that with him. But after we do with him, we move on for the dope. We go to the top thing. Then we're back to this. Wow.
So, as you can hear, and again, the music was a little bit loud, but what he has said, he wants to go after Sebastian Fundora first. For anything else, after he beats Zayas, if he beats Zayas for the unified titles at 154. This is a very stark shift from what we were seeing previously from the world of Boots Ennis. Understand, if you remember, we were saying that Boots Ennis was not moving accordingly to what we wanted to see for the world of boxing because he had been taking so long to get to this championship opportunity. His brother, 35-0 now. 33 KOs is about in his whole career. He was able to be in positions for titles, but did not take them. Or took too long to really call out, I want to get this type of smoke. I think he even said himself in some recent interviews that he held himself back at 147, even though he should have been up here moving at this pace longer ago. And it was a warranted critique. Now going up and calling Fundora, this is a complete stark difference what we were seeing from Boots before. We are in a very different time for Boots Ennis. We're in a land and day, or rather we're in a time of day in Boots Ennis' career where he is now working to be a legacy-driven fighter. You know how long I've been waiting to say them words? Do you know how long I've been waiting to say those words about Boots? It's been insanely long. I've been waiting to say this. Boots is now moving for legacy instead of just for the proper circumstance. Or at least, even if he was always moving for legacy, he is making a more deliberate attempt to achieve legacy in his career by going after Zayas, then Fundora, and hopefully after that, Ortiz. Or just straight up looking to take out Kelly, unify, become undisputed, and then fight Ortiz for the undisputed title. Whichever way it may go. We were all saying that the biggest threat to this division outside of Ortiz, and right now maybe on the same level with the perspective of the public eye, looks to be Sebastian Fundora. That's right, the towering inferno, the house of fire that is Fundora, 6'5", 154 pounds, and 82-inch reach on par, 83-inch reach on par with Deontay Wilder, who is 6'6". He is almost as tall as Anthony Joshua, who is a heavyweight, currently right now training with Usyk, going in the third act of his career, formerly unified heavyweight champion, just knocked out Jake Paul, and is, before Jake Paul, which again, I'm sad Jake Paul was even relevant, but was, it currently still is, one of the biggest names in the heavyweight division, getting ready to fight potentially Tyson Fury in Las Vegas and or Wembley Stadium for a grudge match of all-time British proportions. He's that big in terms of Sebastian Fundora. 6'5", 82-inch reach. And we just saw what he did to Keith Thurman. Made that brother look like a bloated pinata. Busted him up, bloodied him up. Sure, he got the stoppage. Keith Thurman can say all he wants, so he was trying to set stuff up, and he was almost getting his groove on. And he almost did. But he ain't doing it quick enough, because that brother got beat up. Yes, he did. In a valiant effort, he got put out. Just like he made Tim Tszyu quit. Fundora made Tim Tszyu quit. And then cut him on top of the head with an elbow the first fight and then beat him then. Started the beginning of the end of his career. I believe he also stopped Erickson Lewis, if I'm not wrong, in terms of Sebastian Fundora after also getting knocked down. We've seen him improve, grow, flourish, and shine, and get a jab. At 83 inches, he's getting a jab with his lead hand. My God, she didn't have that before. Not in this type of way. There's a danger for Fundora now. Oh, there's a big danger. Everybody better be scared. This is a cold red situation, y'all. We're dealing with a monster. We're dealing with a menace. We are dealing with a literal walking building of destruction. A forest fire level threat that is Sebastian Fundora. People don't want that butter. People don't want that smoke. People don't want that problem. And even the vaunted skill of Boots is being said that may be a step too far for what you got to overcome to beat that type of size and frame and legitimate damaging power that he carries in his way. And he's turning to a better boxer, purely, amongst everything else that we say about him. And Boots is saying, at least per his dad, that's what I want to take on next. If this was a couple of years ago, we would have said that's a long shot because he ain't even moving like that. There's a different mindset. There's a different framework. Boots is moving differently. Boots is thinking differently. Boots is taking advantage of not just the spotlight that is on him, but of the urgency of the moment when it comes to being this level of star. Because he's 28 years old, about to be 29. He is on the cusp of being crowned one of the 5 biggest names in the sport from a purely entertainment perspective. Getting in talks with the likes of Shakur, Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Usyk, Fury, Benavidez, who right now is leading the charge in every regard because of how destructive he was against Zerto Ramirez. Getting everybody to pay attention to him. Hey man, this brother has been like this all this time. He's one of the best people out here. But Boots has been saying Boots has been talked about, he can get right there. He's almost there. He's almost there. Oh, get ready. Everybody look out. He's on his way. Coming down the mountain. Someday, somehow. Some way, somehow. We're going to see him, and when he shows up, it's going to be insane. This is that moment to take advantage and now move to match that expectation. That's all we've been asking Boots to do. And now he's doing it. Would have never heard these types of fights from Boots a couple of years ago. This is showing he is moving like what his talent and legacy-driven mentality should have always had a move like. It's the best thing in the world. I love it. I need to see that fight if we see Zayas lose to Boots. I need to see, regardless of who wins this fight, I want to see them fight Zayas next. But for me, let it be Boots, please, for that matchup. Because that is a recipe for destruction that everybody's going to love. If that happens. Everybody would love that fight. And it's a fight that will change the legacy for Boots immensely. And get a respect that if Zayas ain't going to get respect from people, if they say Zayas ain't the necessary skillful competition, if this ain't enough, that will be. If Zayas ain't enough to make you say you believe in Boots like that, Fundora at 6'5", you better believe he'll be that answer. He'll be that guy. He'll be that. He will be the last check mark for most people to say, okay, all right, I can't say nothing about him now. He is what we thought he was. If you have any detractions about Zayas, if you do, which most people don't, but if you do, there are some, you can't say a doggone thing about Fundora. I don't think you can. I don't think you should. Because that's danger personified, and that's legacy personified. And that's what we want to see. No doubt about that. And also, as again, we're still in the championship rounds. We still want to hear from you. We still have more stuff to talk about in the world of sports and beyond, one of which being, let me see if I can find it. Well, actually, no, I can't find it. Shoot, I thought it was up here. I guess it's not. Well, since we already got that, again, we're jumping around. We're moving through. We're going at different points in time in the world of sports, talking about a bunch of different things. If you did not hear, also, in the world of boxing specifically, Abdullah Mason just got himself a new opponent. He done been replaced. Or rather, he's getting a replacement. If you didn't know, he is going to fight on TNT on free public, well, not free, but on not even standard cable, on cable television, TNT. Abdullah Mason is going to be headlining the card for the masses to witness and see not pay-per-view, just straight up on TNT. He was supposed to be going up against Joe Cordina, though. However, now that's changed. And now he's fighting Albert Bell, 28-0, in a last-second effort in a fight, or rather in a last-second switch in a fight for his title at, I believe, 135 as the I think this should be the WBO belt. Yeah, for the WBO title. This is very intriguing. Okay, Cordina is out. I forget why he's out. I just know he is out. Albert Bell, 28-0, is now stepping in to take on this fight for Abdullah Mason's title. And this is a complete flip from what we were seeing from Mason and Sam Noakes. Power against power, knockdown, drag out brawl where you were in close quarters taking punches from one of the most destructive fighters in that division. Now you're going up against somebody who most likely is going to be moving. I'm talking about how good are you at tracking people down. It's a different test, but it's a good test for the likes of Mason. It's a good, at least to me. Because this is a whole nother extreme of coin when it comes to the type of fighters that we're going to see him deal with. And we've seen him be able to be defensive. We've seen him be able to fight off the back foot. We've seen him be able to walk down people. And we've seen him be able to fight in the pocket and dig deep and hurt even some of the toughest people here. Now, hawking people down, even though we know he's got the distinctive power advantage. How you deal with somebody who's slick and able not just to frustrate you, but to potentially turn you in fits in Albert Bell. They trained together before in sparring, I believe, a couple of years ago. They're familiar with each other's style, even though both of them are different from that point in time. This is going to be interesting for Abdullah Mason specifically. It's going to be a very interesting fight against Albert Bell, who, again, undefeated. And with a style that's going to make Abdullah Mason potentially not just go and be able just to crack and knock him out, even though we know he can. It can be a situation where Abdul's going to have to think on a deeper level, further unraveling the onion of ability that Mason, who's looking to be one of the best fighters in the globe, once he fully matures and elevates his skills and persona and maturity as a man and as a fighter. This is going to be a great opportunity to leap off into that deep end, or at least start leaping off into that more technical area of his game in boxing. Because remember, one of the biggest issues with him versus Sam Noakes was this cat took a lot of punishment. He took a lot of punishment. Sure, he won the fight, absolutely. And he showed his chin is something serious. But that didn't change the fact that he took a lot of hits. I'm not saying he's going to get hit a lot over here. But instead of just dealing with somebody that's going to be right in front of you, boom, 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 you're trading. This could be a Boots type threat. Not in the perspective of skill. But we found out Boots doesn't like people that can move around and get out the way. And that's a situation where elusiveness is a kryptonite, or at least a deterrent to the dominance that he normally incurs. For Abdullah Mason, is that going to be the same thing for him? Or is it going to be a whole different story? That, hey, movers don't affect me as much as can you push me back with power. And that's the case. That tells a whole new story for what his career can be going forward. In a great way. In a phenomenal way. So keep an eye on this fight. Different fighter. Different test though. And can breed a whole new evolution for what Abdullah Mason can be. So I'm excited for that fight. But even still, with that being said, we now got to cover a little bit with the NBA because I want to make sure I don't waste too much time because we got some NBA fans on this show. We're a multifaceted sports environment. It doesn't just harp on one thing. And if you did not know, going into the world of basketball, whoa. What's this? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Never mind. I got something coming across my screen. I thought that said Terrence Crawford was fighting and coming back on TNT. No, it's just him. It's just him with the TNT broadcast. My bad. Forget I said anything. That's a mulligan. Forget I said anything on this. Forget I said a doggone thing. Let's get back to the topic at hand when it comes to the world of basketball. More specifically, for my NBA fans out there, going into the news that LaMelo Ball has gotten traded from the Hornets and is now going to the Minnesota Timberwolves to play alongside the one and only Anthony Edwards. Oh, buddy. Oh, my gosh. Now, understand. For those of you that were fans of Charlotte, this is a monumentally terrible blow. Mind you, we're in the championship rounds. We can talk about this now. We're talking about anything in the world of boxing and beyond, NBA, NFL, and everything else. So we have a chance to go and really discuss everything around the world of sports. That's what this time is allotted for. For those of you that were unaware, again, this is what just broke. He's going to the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, one of the best offensive weapons at guard in the NBA, one of the most exciting players that we have in the league right now. He's now pairing up with the other most exciting player in the NBA, in Anthony Edwards, going to Minnesota to play with DeSumo, to play with Jaden McDaniels, to play with Anthony Edwards, and to play with Rudy Gobert. My goodness. I'm going to tell you something right now. Rudy Gobert is never going to have a lob opportunity better than playing with LaMelo. I can promise you that. And they may be screaming and cheering. If you remember also, Anthony Edwards was angry at the Timberwolves. He was frustrated when they traded Karl Anthony Towns. He was frustrated with how that Timberwolves organization was working and having them not making any moves, and now getting a player that can play loose and free added as a number 2 definitive option. Thank gosh they got rid of the likes of Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle as that secondary option. With all due respect to Julius Randle, it wasn't working like it needed to work. It wasn't producing success necessary. This can be something. And so Timberwolves fans, I got some friends right now. Oh, they celebrate. Oh, they're celebrating. They're just clapping and having themselves a great time. It's a block party in their city. It's insane. They cheering. They're blowing stuff up. It's everything. It's everywhere. They're up. But if you're from Charlotte, brother, this is one of the most demoralizing things you can have happen. My God, this is one of the most demoralizing things you could have happen in this current standpoint in time. Though, if you were unaware, the Hornets got themselves to the play-in. When one went away from the playoffs, they had beaten, though by some questionable tactics about LaMelo Ball on Bam Adebayo, they had beaten the Miami Heat, who everybody thought they were going to lose to. They had just turned into one of the most exciting teams in the league. They had the longest winning streak in the NBA at that point in time, going into the end of the season, which I think was about 18 or 20-something wins. Just about. They were one of the best offensive teams in this league outright. The best three-point shooter, not just of the rookie pool in Con Knipple, but in all of the NBA, one of the best straight snipers in this league. As a rookie in Con Knipple, they had, I'm saying we like I'm a Spurs fan, they had on their team. I'm saying we like I'm not a Spurs fan. I am still hot about the Spurs, I'm sorry, but they are insane. Actually, they're from North Carolina, so I can't lie. That's a home state team, so I do gotta support them. I'll say we. So the Hornets, they had everything built up. Brandon Miller was phenomenal. Miles Bridges was playing up to not just his contract, but in the way of an undersized power forward that was able to be not just a knockdown three-point shooter, but a legitimate offensive option, especially in transition, playing great. Diabates as a rebounder looked phenomenal. And this team had a flow of youthful exuberance when they had been completely done away with everything else. And it looked like this was going to be another bottom of the barrel team after over 4 years of saying, we're not going to trade LaMelo. We're not going to give him up. We're not going to move off him. This is going to work. This is going to work. I don't care what you all say. This is going to work. We finally get to a point where it worked. And now when you're on the cusp of moving and making this team be great, now you go and trade him away, it messes up everything that I've seen them build just to get to this level of potential playoff hopes. With youth, again, they had youth, shooting. Josh Green has a great player off the bench. They were turning into a team that could run with anybody offensively in the league. And actually getting into a position, we may have our own core that can turn into a legitimate threat. And we may get some people that want to actually come here. Because all of a sudden we got structure, we got good coaching, we have an identity, we have a leadership role from a hierarchy perspective of who is indeed in control of what we do on the floor. Everything looked like it was coming up roses for a franchise that was in a laughingstock for most years. Unheard of for most years. Because we sucked. They sucked. And now you make this move. I don't understand. Even if you're trying to get another star. Some people say it may be Jaylen Brown. Is that going to work for how the Hornets play? Especially without a facilitator like LaMelo making this offense be able to be what it was. Let's not forget, I love Kobe White. Kobe White just signed a $44 million contract with the Hornets after this trade. However, with all due respect to what Kobe White did in Chicago and what he was able to be for a backup PG for the Hornets, which was a needed position, do we think that him leading this offense is going to be able to make this team run in the same free-flowing way that they were when LaMelo was having the ball, who also was able to average 30 in a season, but throw down his own offensive production and it turned into even better winning basketball. And still, when you needed him, he was able to show it. I don't know what this doesn't make any sense to me. To me, with the way this makeup of the team was. We see what OKC was able to do when they got a bunch of youth and they let them gain experience together. And then finally, when they got that experience, they didn't trade somebody away. They just added pieces but kept what they had already grown. And now Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, SGA won a title, ran the league, and almost ran it back this year. They just ran into the Spurs. The Hornets were building that type of thing. Now they let it go. It baffles my mind. To me, it baffles my mind. But it's insane. I want to hear your thoughts though, because it's shocking in so many ways that it boggles the mind. Let me see. Shovel, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show. Thank you for tuning in on the live stream with us today. LaMelo can't defend a park car. You're right. He couldn't defend. The defense wasn't the problem though. Excuse me. The defense was never the problem. It was the offense. It was the offense. The offense of this team was what was making it work. The offense of this team was what made it so not just fun to watch, but legitimately everybody was starting to pay attention. They blew out Boston. They were blowing. They beat the Knicks. They beat just about every number 1 and number 2 seed. Not, I say every, like there aren't just 4 in the East and West. They beat every top team in the league in the last portion of the season, when everybody was still trying to vie for playoff spots. They roped off 20 wins against OKC, against Boston, against New York. And so, I don't understand. I think against the Sixers too. Cleveland, I think. Everybody that was relevant, they beat. And we're looking like the hottest thing since sliced bread. It doesn't. I just don't understand. And the LaMelo duo will be interesting. That's for sure. Let me tell you something. That duo, LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. I didn't think that would ever even be a possibility. My gosh, when you look at that together, that could be. I'm talking that. That might be the closest thing we see to and one street ball. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. That might be the closest thing we see to and one mixtape tour come back into the NBA. Because those two together, it's going to turn to one of not just ISO driven, but some of the most creative offensive teams or duos that we would have. LaMelo being a gunslinger of a passer, and Anthony Edwards not just being somebody who, hey, I'll do what needs to be done for the team, but also I'm a flat out dog when it comes to putting the ball in the bucket and being a leader. But both of them are very much their own personalities. This could turn into a chemistry team that just, it works right, it's right. We know each other better than we know anybody else. We fit in gel. I can get you the ball wherever you want it and create my own shot. That's LaMelo. I can make my own shot and I can get open exactly where you want me to. Lobs, I got you. Pick and pop, if you want to go and pick and roll, I got you. We're two tall guards. Anybody that switches on us, we both gonna put him in trouble. We can both get to the hole. Step back threes are both of our games. Transition, this is about to be one of the greatest lob threats that we've had in the NBA right now. With Gobert, Edwards, McDaniels, and LaMelo. LaMelo taking the ball down the paint on a fast break. Anthony Edwards coming on one side. Rudy Gobert running from the backcourt as the last person there. McDaniels with them long legs streaking down the court on the opposite end. Where that ball can go, who knows? And with the sumo most likely sitting on the wing or stopping on the wing. No look passes between the legs. Alley-oops from anywhere. It's possible. There's nowhere that ball won't go that somebody won't have a shot. That somebody won't have an instant opportunity to score. Or he could just take it himself. Anthony Edwards now has, forget Mike Conley. He's got somebody straight up. I just need to worry about one thing. Get the ball in the bucket. I can be a good defender. I can, especially with Rudy Gobert, that covers any type of sins that we can see with LaMelo Ball being a terrible defender. It's a backline defense. Guess what? You got Rudy Gobert in the paint. I don't care how you feel about him on the perimeter. He's one of the best shot blockers we've had in NBA history. Still in his prime. And has actually elevated his own offensive game this year by just being what he should have been this whole time. Big, strong, and dunking the ball. And whatever LaMelo, and you just put Anthony Edwards or Jaden McDaniels on the best offensive perimeter player. Most likely Jaden McDaniels. You got a liner that can go and do whatever you want. You really do. You really do. This team has the makings to be scared. This team looks like a team. That's a threat out west. That's a threat out west. I'm serious. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I still got the Spurs going back to the finals next year. All they got to do is get rid of De'Aaron Fox. I got them going back. But I'm going to tell you this right now. When it was just a two-man race, a two-horse race rather, for the Spurs and OKC out west, it's done opened up a whole lot more now. A whole lot more now. The Timberwolves done showed up and said, we got Anthony Edwards, somebody to believe in, alongside himself. And not only are we keeping our star happy, we're leaning into an identity. Play fast, play loose, play aggressive, and we going to outgun anybody that tries to run with us. That's exactly what Anthony Edwards loves to do. Oh, I'm telling you, this can be insane. This can be insane. This can work. This can work. This can work greatly. Oh, gosh, this can work insanely well. Let me see. Welch, true that, Hornets made some noise that year and had the fans excited. And see, that's what I feel bad for. They were so bought in on the Hornets. That city, that franchise, they were so gung-ho with hope that they never had before. Last time they made the playoffs, Kemba Walker was on this team. Al Jefferson, I think, was on this team. Big Al. Love him to death. It's the last time this team made the last time we had noise. Dwight Howard put up 30 and 20 and had a last good stint at center in his career. That's it. This team was drained of any level of excitement. The biggest thing about what happened in the Hornet Stadium was that somebody else came to town. Giannis is playing. Jokic is playing. LeBron's playing. Luke is playing. Bam Adebayo was playing. Mr. 83, I still hate saying that. That's disgusting. That's still disgusting to say every time. That's still disgusting every time it comes out of my mouth. Bam Adebayo, Mr. 83, I hate it. I despise it. I wish that record was never in existence. But even still, you gotta respect it. Though I don't want to. Unethical buckets, that's exactly what that night was. But he did it. I can't take that away. Regardless of that, that's all that Hornets fans had hope for a long time, even with LaMelo here. Because if we got a star, we ain't winning much. At best, we're 37 and 37. 32 and 32. We're about average. Literally middle of the pack. And it looked like they were going to grow. It really did. We had ESPN talking about them. Though people may not care what Stephen A has to say anymore, we had Stephen A say stuff about him. We had every big-time proponent, regardless of perception from the public, looked at the Hornets and say there's something growing. This is the same thing that's happened every time. Happened with Michael Jordan, and it's happening after Michael Jordan. We get some faith and we get some substance with this team. And it all, right when it about to build to a crescendo, gets washed away. Seemingly for no reason. Mind you, the rumor is Jaylen Brown might be the guy that they're trying to pick up. Fair. Cool. Fine. Guess what? The Timberwolves are also looking to get Jaylen Brown. The Timberwolves are also looking to get Jaylen Brown on their team. To pair both of them up. And if that's the case, I guarantee you they might trade away Jaden McDaniels. He may seem like an untouchable piece to some. They'll trade him away for that. If it means getting yourself that much of a big three, or dare I say a big four on their roster. Especially with some stuff about how the Celtics may not be as invested in the likes of Jaylen Brown because they were willing to trade him up. Or they were willing to offer him in trade packages for the likes of Giannis. And that may rub Jaylen Brown the wrong way. Hence, I'm not happy here. There's already been some rumblings about this stuff that he's been happy or not happy with. This could be the straw to break the camel's back. He may say, yeah, I want to go somewhere else. Give me anywhere. And they send him to Minnesota. It's possible. It is possible. I'm telling you, all of this movement could be for naught. It really could. For the Hornets, if they don't even get somebody. Remember, the biggest opponent about this, not just with the picks, the 3 first-rounders, unprotected first round in 2033, not just with Nas Reed and all that, the Hornets have essentially an ability to take on over $40 million and be okay. They really do. They do. They absolutely do. You got the ability to take on $40 million and be just fine. $40 million of a contract, I think over what the normal salary cap is, and be without penalty. They have the ability to sign a big-time player. The only problem is they may not be able to. They may not even get the chance to. Or if they do pay out that money, it could be because it could be to somebody that just ain't worth it at all. But it's, oh, this is all we could get. That's the scary thing. Hornets can make all these moves, and they may say we're going to get a better player to pair with this young roster, and that's going to be the thing to take this team over the top. And they get somebody, Lou Dort. That's the best they can get. Lou Dort signs a major deal with the Hornets. That's all they could get. It could be that bad. It could really be that bad. That's what's so frustrating. Let me see. Who has a better shot to win next year? Ant LaMelo Gobert or Giannis and Bam? At this current stage right now, Ant LaMelo and Gobert, they got a better chance. They have a better chance. They have a harder road, but they have a better opportunity to get to the finals or to get out their conference and get to the finals. Giannis and Bam is an insane duo, but they gave up everything. Again, I'll even go back and look at the trade to show you what they gave up to give you a perspective as to why, as currently constructed, this team and Bam and Giannis isn't going to be everything. Where's it? I'm pulling it up right now. To get Giannis, they had to trade away Tyler Hero. Let me pull it up. To get Giannis, the Heat had to trade away Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Hawkins, Casper's, I think it's Jakunis. If I'm saying it wrong, I do apologize. Or Casper's, maybe it's Yakunis, whatever the case may be. 3 first-round picks, pick swap, one pick swap and 1 second rounder. All of this to get Giannis. Tyler Hero, Jaime Hawkins, Khalil Ware was part of their youthful backdrop of talent that they were supposed to have. As currently constructed, their lineup consists of Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I have no clue who at point guard. I have no clue. That's their team. Andrew Wiggins. In fact, I'm about to pull it right now. Where's it? Let's go through it. Because I'm telling you, as currently constructed, this Miami Heat team, this is not enough to get over that hump. But this is definitely the start to get to a point to get over said hump. Because they have lost a bunch of people. Davion Mitchell, that's who I was missing. Excuse me. The current starting 5, Davion Mitchell, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, Bam Adebayo. Bobby Portis is the next best player on this team. How old is he? Bobby Portis, what, 35? He ain't young, I'm going to tell you that. How old is this kid? How old is this buddy? He is 31 years old. He's 31 years old. Excuse me. He's not old. But as we've seen as his career is going forward, he is approaching the end of his prime quicker than most players that we've seen. At least when I was watching. Sure, yeah, you saw the numbers, but if you watched the play, it looked a little bit different. At least to me. But that could have been because a lot of the Bucks players were injured at that point in time when he was on that team this past year. But I digress. Bobby Portis is the next best player on that team. Keyshawn Johnson, most well-known thing. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Norman Powell is the next best player on this team. And again, he started. Bobby Portis off the bench is the best player that they got. Keyshawn Johnson's most well-known asset, he won the dunk contest. He's a young player. He's developing. He can be very exciting. But he has not adapted or evolved yet. Averaging 5 points a game. Ain't doing a whole bunch. This team ain't built to do a whole bunch of stuff right now. This team, as currently constructed, is going to be, even if they keep everybody there, it's going to be a big five of Mitchell, or excuse me, it's going to be a big five. Giannis, Bam, Powell, Wiggins, Portis as the biggest names there. With Davion Mitchell as a feisty, a feisty guard. That's it. You running 6 men. You running a 6-man rotation. And hoping that Keshad Johnson, and if they don't trade Nikola Jovic can pick up the next 28 minutes or 20 minutes and turn this secondary bench into a decent unit. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can do that. Not right now, unless they keep on signing more people. And they're going to need to sign some more people. And the only way to do it, they might have to let some people go. They might have to let some people go. Let me see. The Heat need an Avery Johnson type of floor general. Well, that's where these trades may just be the start of more stuff. These trades may just be the start of more stuff. Because they need to get more people. Jovic is on the trading block right now. They're going to try to flip him for some more guard play because they need some more guard play. They really do. This getting Giannis now with Bam and Giannis together, it's win now. It's win now. It is win now. They got about a 3-year window that they got to go for it. They have to go for it. They have to. Because Giannis is about loyalty, sure. But Giannis also, he's going to need some help. And just like in Milwaukee, he's going to demand some help. He probably went to Miami because he thinks they're going to be able to build around what he needs to be able to win a title and get out the East and beat the Knicks. You're going to need it. And Miami, they normally go off of Gabe Vincent's. They go off of Maxi Klebers, Max Struess's, those types of players. They've been able to go and get to finals with a 1-2 punch and good outside pieces. But those outside pieces normally only worked when they played in Miami. Giannis is going to want people that work regardless of whatever team they were on. He's not saying he needs to sign all-stars outright, but he needs to get people that it ain't just Heat. They need to be more than just Heat culture. It was making them win. They are able to carry their weight consistently wherever they are. Because Giannis wants to get back to a title. He does not want to waste his prime. I guarantee you he does not. He does not. Welch, let me see. Welch, yeah, that's tough, especially when Giannis has gotten injured over these past few years. That's another thing. That's a whole nother can of worms. The injuries of Giannis is another huge deal that we got to look at and see, hey, man, there's a potential that Bam could be on his own starting the playoffs. Because of how Giannis has gotten injured time and time again. Not because of his own fault. It happens. He can give you 30, 12, and 5 every single night like he's done for the past 5 years. But he can get hurt. A lot. There's a lot of wear and tear on that big frame of his. And he isn't getting any younger. He is in the prime of his career and is one of the 5 best players in the world. Without a doubt, this is the biggest signing they've had since getting Jimmy Butler. This is more on par with them getting the likes of a LeBron James. Because this is a top 5 level player. I love Jimmy Butler. In the playoffs, he elevated to a top 5 player. But on the whole, top 10, top 15. That's what people talked about him as. This is a bona fide top 5, top 3 player. This is the biggest signing they've had since LeBron. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. This is a now or never situation. They cannot afford injuries or a lack of depth. They have to. Pat Riley's going to have to bite the bullet. We don't need Heat culture. We need winning culture. Because Giannis is going to want people that, okay, I know I can look to my left and look to my right. We're going to work. And it's going to be more than just 6 people. We're going to see in a couple of days they're going to be making more trades. Mark my words. Everything is riding on this duo. It is. And I guarantee you, they are going to make more trades. They have to. They have to. Make more trades and make more signing of free agents. It's going to be necessary. Because you got 2 Supermax level players. Cool. Fine. No issue there. You got to bolster this lineup. You have to. Shoot. Same thing with the Timberwolves. Even though they're a lot better off. Same thing with them. They're gonna need to be able to get a bigger flushed out roster in order to be successful. This team in the Heat has the capacity to, if they do this build up right and they sign the right people, they can be right back in a top 5 landscape. Because this dynamic duo, Bam and Giannis, defensively, it speaks for itself. Offensively, it's going to be better than people will expect. A whole lot better. I don't think the paint is going to be as clogged as you may think. It's not going to be as unmovable and confusing 5 feet and in as people may think, because, Giannis is an inside player. Bam's going to need to and will be able to show his abilities as an offensive Swiss Army knife when it comes to being able to put the ball in the bucket from the mid-range, take advantage of mismatches that are going to be done because of this man's frame and the focus of Giannis taking over everybody's psyche. Teams are going to shift all because Giannis is on the floor. Bam's going to have time to work. That duo is going to work better than you think. It's just the rest. It's just the rest. And this is if they keep everybody. Most likely, Norman Powell's got to go. With this team, most likely Norman Powell's got to go. If they want to flush it out like necessary, Norman Powell or Andrew Wiggins, one of them is probably going to have to go before the season starts next year to be able to fill out this roster. Because they both want money. They both want revenue. And they both, if they already got paid, take a lot of money. And with Giannis and Bam, the contracts that they got, Norman Powell already is getting it's already been reported that Norman Powell wants to get paid. And so most likely he's gone. In fact, let me see. I'll look it up right now. Let me check my sources to make sure this is true. The Heat, yep, right here. Per Brian Windhorst, the Heat are expected to lose Norman Powell. Right now. Heat are expected to lose Norman Powell in free agency. They're going to lose their all-star, Norman Powell, unless he takes a crazy discount. He's going to be gone. Norman Powell, former all-star, he wants his money. He's got a chance to make the biggest bag in his career. He's not wasting that, most likely. And the pay cut that he's might be willing to take, if he is willing to take one, it's not going to be anywhere close to enough to get this roster built to where it needs to be. It's going to be bad, I'm telling you. They're going to need to make massive moves and changes to get this team championship ready. This first year is probably going to be a year of we're getting things together. Giannis and Bam, y'all work. Let's see how it goes. After that, we're going to sign some people to make this thing work even better and reach the zenith of what this thing can be. Also, Nestor, what's going on with you? I almost didn't see you. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. Again, we're in the championship rounds. If you didn't know, we talk about everything in the world of boxing and beyond. That includes the NBA, NFL, sports, and beyond. All for your viewing and listening pleasure. We're on this show. We cover boxing primarily, but this is the time, this last 30 minutes to an hour, where we let the world talk about whatever they want to discuss. And if I can talk about it, hey, I can be about it. Right now, we're talking about the NBA and the free agency and trading insanity that's going on right now. And be clear, we're updating to the minute with everything going on right now. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. We are trying to be as up to date as possible with everything involving what's going on with trades, rumors, big time moves, big time shifts. And we talk about right now, when we're looking at all these other moves, Jaylen Brown's been the biggest fixture amongst everything after. Now, dust hasn't even settled, but with some of the biggest names moving, we're still getting Jaylen Brown in the midst of all these talks. Stuff could still shake with him as we're transitioning over from Miami. Because as you can see right here, being reported by, again, Chris Mannix through the means of Dunk Central or NBA Central, the Boston Celtics are reportedly looking for a big man and are willing to trade Jaylen Brown to acquire one. This is 3:48 today. Or excuse me, yesterday. Boston continued to discuss Brown trades on Tuesday. Two sources familiar with the talks tell Sports Illustrated many of the conversations were initiated by rival teams, sources say. Some were brokered by the Celtics. They are hunting a big man, says a rival executive, and they're willing to trade Brown to get it. They're willing to do it. If it's talking about with all this stuff with LaMelo Ball and the Celtics, or LaMelo Ball and the Hornets, feel that need, they may be willing to trade him to the Hornets to get Diabate, a phenomenal rebounding guard. They need a bigger player than that. You got players right now, or teams on the trading block right now. In fact, I'll even look up. Let me pull up the teams real quick. Let me go and pull up the teams real quick to see who is indeed in need of a big man. Because right now, there's a plethora of bigs that could be garnered if you need to get stuff going. I would say Detroit is potentially an option with Jalen Duran. However, would they be willing to make that move off of the success of what they had last year? Well, the lack thereof, with them getting kind of shellacked by the likes of Detroit or by the likes of Cleveland. They may be made to make some shifts or wanting to make some shifts. Might be willing to trade Jaylen Brown to pair with a great player in the likes of Cunningham. Now you get that dynamic duo of a guard tandem, especially with the way Cunningham has been able to show up and show out as a tough, rugged, 25 to 30 points per game point guard that can score, pass, defend, and be a clutch player. Detroit might be willing to make that move and trade away Durant, especially how Durant stunk in the playoffs. Oh, he was abysmal. Oh, he was horrible. All that talk about the money he was going to get from Detroit, all that may be up in smoke. They may be saying it's time to move on. It's time to get, and we cannot move forward with how he played in the playoffs. We got to grow. We got to move, and we got to get somebody with experience to pair with Cunningham to make this thing really work. He could go to Detroit. They could, if we talking bigs that need to make a move, Grizzlies, though they have a core formerly with Ja Morant, Desmond Bain, Jaron Jackson Jr., now, who's to say that it isn't pickings for everybody, especially now that they got Cam Boozer forward for Duke coming and play with them, who I believe is a 6'10", 6'11" forward. Might be willing to go and let go of some of the bigs that they have on their own roster in a trade to help expedite. If you're also looking to get Ja Morant out of there, Could be a trade that could happen. For real. There's shoot. OKC most likely is looking to get rid of somebody or bolster some help with the likes of Chet Holmgren. I'm not saying they're gonna get rid of Chet Holmgren, but they have enough assets that hey, we trade away Lou Dort, we trade away one of our bigs, even if it's at the cost of Hartenstein, because we just picked up a 7'3" center in the draft. Maybe it's worth bolstering our roster a little bit more. Make a trade. Get Jaylen Brown over here. I bring up Oklahoma City not because they need him, but because they have so many assets, they can get him. They can. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. Dallas Mavericks. I believe they still have a rotation of bigs in lieu of that trade with Anthony Davis from Dallas to DC. I believe they have a rotation of bigs that they can have with Derek Lively. Where's it? Cooper Flag. Did they trade away? I forgot. They don't. I apologize. They don't have the bigs necessary to trade for this situation because they traded away Daniel Gafford. I forgot they got rid of Daniel Gafford. Dang it. I completely forgot Dallas got rid of Gafford and they kept Derek Lively. No, I'm wrong. I missed it. They didn't trade him. My apologies. Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Marvin Bagley. If you want to count Cooper Flag as a big, and PJ Washington, though Cooper Flag is more of a forward. Yeah, he's more of a forward, excuse me. You got PJ Washington, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Marvin Bagley. That's 4 bigs that if they wanted to move off of one of them, specifically Daniel Gafford, for the type of rebounder that you would need, Boston would not look bad with Daniel Gafford at center. They wouldn't look bad at all. They could make that move. They could. For Jaylen Brown. It's going to be more than just Gafford, absolutely. But you get what I'm saying. There's some opportunities that, yeah, Jaylen Brown might not be done moving. Jaylen Brown might not be done shifting. We could get some extra shifts in momentum to have an opportunity to have Jaylen Brown be essentially swept off his feet and move somewhere else. Whether he wants to or not. In fact, I think there was actually an update about Jaylen Brown. Where was it at? I think did it come across social media yesterday? Oh, where was it at? No, it wasn't that. Dang it, there was another report. That's what it was. Houston. That's what I was thinking of. Houston. That's what I was thinking of. I knew I saw it somewhere. I just had to make sure I found it. Houston and the Timberwolves are in talks with Boston. Specifically the Houston Rockets. With them trying to let go of some pieces. Get rid of some potential opportunities. There's some movement that can be shaken. And this, but by the end of this month, he could be gone. By the end of this month, he could be gone. And this has been of all the years we've seen with Jaylen Brown, this has been one of the most fervent, consistent conversations. This brother's about to leave. This man's about to get out of here. Somebody's about to pick him up and get him gone. It's been the most consistent I've heard about Jaylen Brown moving out of Boston than I've ever heard in this career before. And he's been in trade talks before. This is the most pressure we've heard, I've felt from Boston, feeling like we're getting this butt out of here one way or another. Somehow. We're getting him out of here somehow. I'm telling you. This is with them being finals MVP. This is with them being an NBA champion. This is with them outplaying Jason Tatum in both of their finals appearances. Both of them. The first one versus Golden State. When they lost, Jaylen Brown outplayed them. And the second one, who was it that played in the second one? Who did they play? They played who in the world did they play in their second finals appearance? Celtics. It wasn't Miami, was it? It wasn't Miami, was it? Title. Was it Dallas? Dallas. That's what it was. Yep, yeah, it was Dallas. It was Dallas. When they played against Dallas, that's what I was thinking. When they played against Dallas was when they won the title. Routed them. And it was Jaylen Brown outplayed Jason Tatum. Again, he has done everything you would want to gain respect of a franchise. And now he is still more fervently than ever been showed Jason Tatum is our focus. And you are not a part of the main equation of us consistently vying for titles. Though you've been the integral part of this entire build up to a championship. When Tatum got drafted, when we were facing off against LeBron, when we got Kyrie Irving, every single instance Jaylen Brown was there for every step of the way. Even when he couldn't dribble with his left hand. Guess what? He still showed up and was an immaculate defender. And was still putting up 20 to 25. When you needed him. He was he has been and is one of the most integral pieces to this team. And now he's getting shown, we're willing to let you go. Don't be surprised if this sours that relationship. And yeah, more than he's willing to let you go, I'm out of here. I want out. Could be the next words out of Jaylen Brown's mouth. I want to be traded. Could be the very next words that we hear Jaylen Brown say. I'm happy with being gone because I'm not getting the respect. It could very well be that it could very well be that we see that because the players, they care. They care about being valued by a franchise. They care about being valued by an organization. These things don't just go away. Let's look, perfect example, when we had Dalton Connect on LA. Dalton Connect starting off the season with this team. Looking like a house on fire, shooting from three. Trying to dunk on everybody under the sun. Getting rotation minutes, looking like he's going to be a real piece to this puzzle with Los Angeles and LeBron and Austin Reeves. This may be the 6'7" wing that we needed. Next thing you know, he gets put in trade talks with everybody under the sun when they're trying to get a big man. It doesn't happen. But you see how he went and acted with this team going forward. The whole vibe of him shifted for the worse. Everything about him shifted. Everything. We saw it clear as day. Clear as day. James Harden, when he wasn't valued by the Sixers and Dale Moore. I'm out. I don't want to be a part of this. You don't care about me. When you get done wrong by an organization, players do not forget that. And when it feels like you're being undervalued, players sure enough don't forget that. They don't. They can't. Why would they? Because now not only are you messing with my money, but when I helped get you to where you are, you still showing I'm still valued, you still let me or willing to let me go. Don't forget that. That can be a major problem down the line. Mark my words as we continue to Friday and the rest of this week in the world of sports, specifically within the NBA, you need to watch out. This biggest saga in story could be where Jaylen Brown heads to. And more specifically, if he's the one that's starting to make demands where he wants to go because he's fed up with the situation. Why isn't Boston keeping me around and showing me of everybody else that they've said is untouchable? I'm the guy that you're willing to let go. Now, don't forget, he won't forget. And whether it's on the streaming platform or just in straight up in a tweet, we're going to see. This is about to get very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And I can't wait to talk about it as we continue on this show and get ready to get out of here as we have to end off this stream to make sure we don't go over time and be ready for tomorrow afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you joining in on our show. We're going to wrap this show up, send it home, and let you enjoy the rest of your day. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our show, being a part of us or being a part of our endeavors on this Thursday afternoon. We're here every 3 days out the week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, talking about the world of boxing and beyond. We love all the interactions. We love all the chats and conversations. We love you, and we appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, go ahead, leave a like on the video before you leave. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions on what you liked or didn't like about the show so we can keep on edifying this show and make it better for you to witness and enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to come and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars and be sure to listen to us on Apple, Spotify, on the go, in your car, on your job, wherever you may be, whatever who you're around. Just know they're going to want to hear what we got to say. We thank you to everybody who came in and chatted and responded and added to the conversation and stuck around for the ride all day long on this show. And we again can't wait to have you all here on Friday afternoon covering the world of boxing and beyond. If you wanted to support the show monetarily, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like, all for you to help support this channel. We can't do this without you. We need you. We ain't got no sponsors right now. We need you. We're like PBS. We're made possible by viewers like you to help me pay the bills and help us to go through and edify this show, invest back into this show to make it bigger, better, and stronger for your viewing and listening pleasure. But we appreciate you on the stream. We appreciate you joining us today. Come back tomorrow, same time, same place, same channel for a whole show of championship rounds with a whole entire day. You all control the whole of this conversation, and your chats drive the story of where the show is gonna go. But we can't wait to see you all there. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have an absolutely wonderful peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We're gonna let you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Be safe, be blessed, and we're gonna see you all next time. And we gone.